on myself, attacks on Bandi Sanjay, attacks on other Bharatiya Janata Party Karyakartas and MLAs have been very common of late in Telangana because of the losing ground. TRS party is losing ground and KCR is a frustrated man today.
Right, Mr. Dharmapuri. Many thanks for joining us there and for sharing your thoughts with us. And going back once again to Aneri, our correspondent, who's there on the ground covering this event. Aneri, even as we speak, we're seeing those visuals of, the kind of pandemonium, the ruckus outside, the chaos outside K. Kavita's residence, if I'm not wrong. And now Bandi Sanjay arrested. Bandi Sanjay having to face a lot of problems from the state administration, in fact, in the past few months, we believe.
Well, that's right, Rukma. We have been seeing that Bandi Sanjay, the BJP state president, is on a Padyatra, and at that time he was, the BJP had planned a protest against the arrest of the BJP workers who were arrested yesterday by the police officials when they were trying to stage protest at K. Kavita's residence, when she had come out with a statement that she is not involved in the liquor scam, in the Delhi liquor scam, and she had given out a statement that she is ready for any sort of investigation, is what the K. Kavita had stated. But the BJP workers yesterday had staged protest outside K. Kavita's residence in Hyderabad, and after which we see that the police officials had booked them under a non-bailable warrant, which has been opposed by the BJP workers, and also the whole the state BJP state president Bandi Sanjay had also come out with a statement that this is not right, and so they had decided, they had planned to go on a diksha that against the arrest of all these BJP workers.
Right. Right, Aneri, many thanks. So you keep your eyes on that story. So, well, the BJP protesting over TRS links to the liquor row. And moving on to other news stories you're watching live.
बताते हैं, मगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने सबसे जरूरी और सबसे क्रिटिकल ऑपरेशन के बारे में लाल किले से चर्चा नहीं करते हैं, मगर वो चर्चा देश की जनता रोज करती है। और वो कार्यक्रम भारतीय जनता पार्टी का है ऑपरेशन लोटस। और ये ऑपरेशन लोटस क्या है? ऑपरेशन लोटस भारतीय जनता पार्टी का अपना इजाद किया हुआ शब्द है, जो शब्दकोश के अंदर आया, भारतीय राजनीति के शब्दकोश के अंदर इसकी उत्पत्ति भारतीय जनता पार्टी द्वारा हुई है। ऑपरेशन लोटस। ये ऑपरेशन क्या है? ये ऑपरेशन ये है कि जब जब राज्य सरकारों को चुनाव में जनता चुनकर भेजती है, उसमें खूब समय मिलता है भारतीय जनता पार्टी को उस राज्य सरकार के खिलाफ, उस पार्टी के खिलाफ प्रचार करने के लिए। प्रधानमंत्री स्वयं प्रचार करने हर राज्य में जाते हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सभी केंद्रीय मंत्री प्रचार में हर राज्य में जाते हैं, चाहे दिल्ली जैसा छोटा शहर हो, चाहे वेस्ट बंगाल जैसा बड़ा जो है राज्य हो, प्रधानमंत्री स्वयं उतरते हैं। चाहे महाराष्ट्र हो, प्रधानमंत्री और गृह मंत्री स्वयं उतरते हैं मैदान में और प्रचार करते हैं। और जब प्रचार के बाद उस राज्य की जनता भारतीय जनता पार्टी को रिजेक्ट करती है और किसी दूसरी पार्टी को चुनती है, तब जनता के फैसले के खिलाफ एक षड्यंत्र शुरू होता है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के केंद्रीय मुख्यालय से वो षड्यंत्र शुरू होता है और उस षड्यंत्र का नाम है ऑपरेशन लोटस। ये ऑपरेशन लोटस हमने मध्य प्रदेश में देखा, जहां कांग्रेस के विधायकों को तोड़कर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अपनी सरकार बनाई, जनता को धोखा दिया। जनता की चुनी हुई सरकार को गोवा में गिराया गया और भारतीय जनता
news coming in now. The remission of Bilkis Bano's convicts is being challenged now in the top court. The Bilkis Bano case has now reached the apex court. A plea has been filed against the remission of the convicts in her case. The remission is being challenged. The Supreme Court has assured that it will look into the matter. So the Bilkis Bano case in the top court now, it reaches the Supreme Court. Even as we speak, the remission of Bilkis Bano case convicts is being challenged in the Supreme Court. Advocate Aparna Bhatt has said the Supreme Court has given a discretion to the state to consider it. And senior advocate Kapil Sibal says we are challenging the remission order. Bilkis Bano was pregnant when 14 members of her family were killed in front of her eyes, and she and another family member were also raped. And Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana has said we will see. Joining us now is Priyanka. Priyanka, when we talk about this particular case, Bilkis Bano, the entire country was outraged, even as, in Gujarat, we saw those visuals of the convicts in her case being granted remission of their sentences from life imprisonment after 15 years, a huge shock for the entire nation. Now the case reaches the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says it will look into the matter. Over to you.
Well, Rukma, this is a huge development that we are seeing in the case of Bilkis Bano and the remission that has been given to these 11 convicts who had brutally gang raped her in 2002 in Godhra itself. And now we are seeing that in the Supreme Court it has been challenged over the basis of which this remission has been given to these 11 convicts. And we had seen that earlier as well in Godhra. The lawyers of Bilkis Bano earlier as well had stated that they are looking into the legalities of it, and then they will be taking the appropriate steps in the apex court, and they will be challenging it. In fact, there has been a lot of support for Bilkis Bano, and there have been several letters that have been written to the president itself, appealing to Draupadi Murmu, stating that she should also take some action of overturning the government of Gujarat's decision. Now, the challenge will be made with respect to the government of Gujarat's decision of allowing this remission, challenging the authenticity and the legality of the panel as well, and the panel in which there were more of the BJP MLAs as well and BJP leaders who had given their go-ahead of giving the remission to these 11 convicts as well. So all of those parts will be challenged in the Supreme Court. And of course, we will have to wait and watch for the legal arguments as to what is the basis of the arguments that will be presented before the Supreme Court. But as of now, from what I have been able to gather from the lawyer and the legal teams of Bilkis Bano, they have stated that they are going through the entire recommendations of the panel. They're going through the entire minutes of those meetings of those panel as well. They're going through the government of Gujarat's earlier policy as well, under which the remission has been granted to these 11 convicts. And they will, of course, appeal to them with respect to the kind of nature of the crime that it had been committed by these 11 convicts against Bilkis Bano in 2002, and how and why this kind of a remission has been given to these 11 convicts as well. So all of that will be under the purview of this. We will in fact get these details in these legal arguments that will be presented before the Supreme Court.
Right. And well, as of now, news is that the case is in the top court. Priyanka, the top court has assured that it will look into the matter. Meanwhile, when we talk about the Gujarat government, when we talk about, the panel that it has justified the remission of the convicts after 15 years.
Well, absolutely, Rukma. They are sticking to this. They have, in fact, we have been on the ground reporting in Godhra as well, trying to get in a word from the Supreme Court, from the convicts, from the legal teams, and of course the panel members, the BJP leaders who were part of the panel that gave the recommendation of this remission to these 11 convicts. And they have said that they will stay on with this and that there was absolutely nothing wrong. There were several statements that had been made, but after a point they had completely stonewalled the media. They were not speaking to them. But the government of Gujarat is staying by this decision of the remission that has been granted to these 11 convicts, and they're saying that this is as per the law and that there is nothing along with the law. And of course, they have said, and they've said that the legal team of Bilkis Bano has the option to approach the Supreme Court if they want to challenge the legalities. But as of now, there is no legal loophole that they will have to rescind the remission of these 11 convicts as well. So all of that has been said in the public domain. And after a point, the BJP leaders and the BJP government, at least in the government of Gujarat, has gone completely silent on this issue, and they have said that this is something that will have to be taken via the legal recourse, and the legal teams of Bilkis Bano will have to approach the Supreme Court. So of course, some relief can be expected now that there has been some steps taken by the legal teams of Bilkis Bano, and that they have approached the Supreme Court. They have challenged the remission that had been granted to these 11 convicts. So of course, we will have to wait and watch as to what kind of arguments have been presented and what really the bench decides, and how they really, analyze the entire law over the remission that has been granted to these 11 convicts.
Right. Well, it's been a case, it's been a 20-year battle already for her. Swapnil Kothari, senior advocate, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Kothari, when we look at, what Bilkis has gone through, 20 years later, we find that her convicts are remitted. They are granted remission, as it's said. The 11 of those convicts, and they're garlanded. The entire nation is outraged. Now the case is in the Supreme Court. How do you see this battle for her panning out?
Well, I think let's hope that the Supreme Court hears both the sides properly, which I'm sure it will, and arrives at the conclusion that gives justice to Bilkis Bano. I do not know, and I do not understand why these convicts were let off free. What was the great hurry for a remission? And if that is the case, then I think the Supreme Court needs to view it and review it from all aspects and give the appropriate order, maybe send them back to incarceration, or give any reasons for confirming the remission order, which I'm sure the Supreme Court will do that. Give reasons if it decides to confirm that remission order, which I'm not so sure. Looking at the outrage in the public eye, and also with the possible evidence that is there before, where Bilkis Bano can surely say that these were the rapists, that she had undergone the trauma, then I think the Supreme Court can obviously do justice, which it is empowered to do as the highest court of the land.
And how do we understand, sir, the remission granted to convicts who are accused of rape and murder, and who have been convicted to life terms? And we'll be talking about this more, but joining us is our legal expert, Ridhim Bharadwaj. Ridhim, it's over to you. We also have with us senior lawyer, senior advocate Swapnil Kothari. Bilkis Bano's case in the Supreme Court now.
That's right. We just heard this particular mentioning happening in the Supreme Court, viewers, where in the Bilkis Bano case, the advocate Aparna Bhatt came to the Supreme Court and said, we want a discretion to the state to consider it. Supreme Court gave a discretion to the state to consider it. Now we want to know what further can happen. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal, who appeared in the case, said, we are challenging the remission order. Now the biggest news that's coming from the Supreme Court in a mentioning that took place today of the PIL is the Supreme Court has agreed to hear the PIL challenging the remission of Bilkis Bano killers, and the bench has also asked a very important question before I go across to Swapnil, where the bench asks whether the release was on the basis of a Supreme Court order. Sibal then said the petitioner is not questioning the Supreme Court order, but the basis on which the remission was granted to the 11 convicts. And they also told the Supreme Court that the bench that had been headed by Justice Rastogi had permitted the Gujarat government to apply the remission rules prevailing at the time of the conviction of the 11 accused. The Chief Justice said that we will list the matter before the appropriate bench. I want to go across to Swapnil, who continues to be with us. Swapnil, this is a case in which there was huge criticism after the remission given to the 11 convicts. The way forward would really be to ensure that these people who are convicted continue to be behind bars.
Well, absolutely, Rhythm. There is no question about it. I do not know why the remission order was given, and a very pertinent question there asked by the Supreme Court, that whether it is on the basis of any Supreme Court judgment. Now, that obviously, will possibly come in the way because you have the rule of precedence. But then, obviously there are distinguishing features also, as you are you are very much aware, being a lawyer yourself. So this case can be distinguished from the cases where the Supreme Court has agreed or has given the remission order. But in this case, obviously, given the gravity of the crime and given the fact that these people were supposed to have faced some 2 decades of imprisonment and have been let off earlier, or whatever the sentencing was, and have been let off earlier and freed, then obviously the rules need to be re-examined, and more so the applicability of the rules to these people as to why the rules were applied to these convicts and they were granted remission order. So the Supreme Court, having agreed to hear the PIL, I hope the Supreme Court reviews it appropriately and comes to a conclusion that is favorable to Bilkis Bano, because I believe that these people need to be behind bars and complete their sentence, even if it's good behavior or anything of that sort, because, as far as the parole and the furlough is concerned, all of those things are different as opposed to remission. Remission is completely, for the benefit of the viewers, completely where a person's sentence has been reduced and he's been let off free, which is what has happened here. So this is possibly a grave miscarriage of justice. And, the rules, as I said, the applicability of the rules has to be re-examined, and more so I hope that there is no Supreme Court precedent, because then it becomes a tad difficult for the Supreme Court to then go into the distinguishing aspect and say that, well, this case is different and we cancel the remission order. So for that, obviously all aspects the Supreme Court will examine, and I'm glad that the Supreme Court has decided to list this plea of Aparna Bhatt.
Yes, I also want to ask you here, even as we're trying to get a sense of what happened, Swapnil, this is a case that caused national outrage. Today, when the Supreme Court agrees to hear it, there is a ray of hope that justice will be done.
Well, absolutely. The Supreme Court always comes as the final arbiter of the Constitution and as a constitutional sentinel, as what we use the phrase, a sentinel qui vive. So, that being the case, and the Supreme Court has done ample times, has sort of walked into these cases and done justice where it, there was grave injustice done, and has come to the rescue of the petitioners or rescue of the applicants, whose fundamental rights have been trampled. Here, obviously, the fundamental right of bodily integrity was trampled upon because she underwent rape. And obviously, the sentencing which was given has not been, carried out to the fullest. So that, again, on the principles of equality, where somebody else, some other convict tomorrow come and say that, hey, I'm suffering this same amount of sentencing. Why am I not being given remission? What is so great about these people that they've been given remission? So obviously that will open up another Pandora's box, and you will have application after application from convicts. So this is something which the Supreme Court will have to put, sort of nip it in the bud and say that, look, this is, grave miscarriage of justice. This convict should not have been given remission. And that ray of hope will obviously, I hope,
absolutely
prevails. I believe so.
Absolutely. Swapnil, thank you for being with us. Viewers, the top focus coming. Supreme Court mentioning on the Bilkis Bano case. And finally, the Supreme Court says we will list it before the appropriate bench. Let's also tell you the Supreme Court, as it's come out with this order, has said that this was has questioned whether the bench headed by Justice Rastogi had permitted the Gujarat government and whether the release was on the basis of the Supreme Court order, to which the counsels replied that it's not the Supreme Court order that's being questioned, but the basis on which the remission was granted. All this possibly going to come up in a short time. Let me go across to other news coming from the Supreme Court as we are speaking, viewers. Supreme Court now orders to shift Suresh Chandrasekhar to Mandoli jail from the Tihar jail. His wife Leena Polose will also be shifted, and this is coming after several questions were being done with the Supreme Court, asking and being told in a letter what had to be done in this case. Now, as they were hearing this case, because Suresh Chandrasekhar had said that there is a threat to his life, the bench of Justice Lalit, Justice Ravindra Bhatt and Sudhanshu Dhulia heard the matter, and the Supreme Court said, they went through what he said in a short hearing. Finally, they said, all right, we'll hear you, Mr. Basant, the lawyer who appeared for Sukesh Chandrasekhar, and they have now said that he shall be allowed to shift his jail, which is the plea that is there before them. and the ASG had opposed it and said that what he's saying is not correct. However, the Supreme Court has given out an order where in an order has now said jail officials were being used for passing documents and other illicit business. Having considered these materials on record, it is the opinion in terms of the statement that the petitioner be shifted to Mandoli jail. It's ordered, and whether the action against officials is going to be taking place or not is going to be seen. But viewers, coming up after a short break, we stay with the top focus as Sukesh Chandrasekhar is now being shifted out of Bihar.
एबीपी के कार्यकर्ताओं ने रोड पर अभी जाम लगा दिया है। इन पर लाठीचार्ज हुआ था और लाठीचार्ज करने के बाद यहाँ पे अब लगातार गहलोत सरकार के खिलाफ नारेबाजी जो है वो यूनिवर्सिटी के छात्र कर रहे हैं।
Sensational assassination plot involving an ISIS terrorist, a native of a Central Asian country, was hired in Turkey, was tasked with bombing an Indian leadership elite, was headed to India, arrested by Russia.
Was coming to India after having been indoctrinated, trained to carry out a suicide bombing. It's perhaps for the first time that an international operation of this kind has unraveled.
Why is it becoming about enforcement directive? How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores for the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being answered. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Kartik. You should be able to speak about it, Kartik.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
मनीष सिसोदिया के पुतले को आग लगा दी गई है, केजरीवाल के पुतले को आग लगा दी गई है और अब तीसरा पुतला सत्येंद्र जैन के रूप में उसको भी आग के हवाले कर दिया गया है। After the Congress party Savarkar insult, the BJP makes Savarkar the #1 issue. Mega Savarkar Rath Yatra today. The BJP MLA Raja Singh is booked for a controversial remark after late-night protests. Row over Ganesh celebration at the Eidgah Maidan. Pramod Muthalik launches a controversial signature campaign. The JNU VC stokes another row, says no Hindu god was a Brahmin. Tamil Nadu minister sparks a row, compares the Modi government to British rule at the Oxford Union debate. Massive anger over Liquorgate. Sisodia posters painted with black are found in the national capital. Ten ancient idols are allegedly stolen from the Jalna temple in Maharashtra. A massive uproar after the theft. Good morning and welcome. You are watching live and breaking on Republic TV. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. First up, going across some news that's just coming in from the Supreme Court this morning. The Supreme Court has ordered the shifting of Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar, his wife Leena, to the Mandoli jail within the next 1 week. So that's the latest that we are getting right now. We are given to understand that the Supreme Court had asked for Sukesh Chandrasekhar to be shifted to Mandoli jail within 1 week. Rhythm is on the phone line with us. Rhythm, all right, Rhythm in fact is joining us live this morning now. Rhythm, good morning. Give us more details of what's happening. The Supreme Court, of course, has said that 1 week is the time that's being granted to shift the conman.
Yes, absolutely. Very good morning, Nupur, and viewers who are joining in. An extremely interesting hearing that takes place in the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court finally orders that they should be shifted. Suresh Chandrasekhar and his wife are now going to be shifted to Mandoli from Tihar, and this is on a petition filed by him that there's a threat to his life. It's a petition that was heard for very long in the Supreme Court, where the additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju actually opposed it and said he should not be moved. However, the Supreme Court was told there is a threat perception, and they've already offered you one. They also asked a question as to how many people had already been impinged after those allegations had been made of him under various offences of extortion. So at that time, the Supreme Court is told 105 have already been proceeded against. The ASG said he's been calling up jail officials as law minister, home secretary for bail, for donations. The Supreme Court said the court had earlier also said, after hearing the petition, that they will be looking at this application that he want and the conduct of the petitioner in the jail. So keeping everything in mind and after hearing all sides, the Supreme Court has now stated that they are going to be shifting him as his demand to Mandoli jail. In fact, when this order was coming out, Nupur, the ASG also said his letter reads like a crime novel. So allegations have been made of life threats by Suresh Chandrasekhar, after which he and his wife are shifted out of Tihar. This happens in the back heels of several officials in Tihar having been convicted, because remember in the last hearing, he had been asked to furnish details of those jail officials he had paid bribes to.
Now, Rhythm, earlier on, of course, when he filed this plea, he and his wife had both asked to be shifted outside of Delhi. But the government counsel has been arguing that if he has to be shifted, he has to be shifted to Mandoli, which has paramilitary forces guarding it. So it does seem that the Supreme Court agrees with that, because it has ordered the shifting to Mandoli.
Yes, absolutely. The Supreme Court has as of now not passed any words on the merits of the case, because they are looking at other cases. In fact, they wanted this to be quickly over so that they could get on with the work that they had. The ASG S.V. Raju in the case said he was running an extortion racket. Several officials were suspended. Now he wants to continue his activities elsewhere. It is shocking. So do not have him released from Tihar and go to Mandoli. The Supreme Court said we've seen all that. We know he's wanted in a number of cases. In this very jail, some 80 officials were complicit. Have you taken action? The ASG said yes. Now he's finding it difficult to continue his racket. The shift has now happened within a week to Mandoli jail for him and his wife.
All right, Rhythm, thank you for joining us on that. So that's the latest that we are getting. Conman Sukesh will now be shifted to Mandoli prison. And news just coming in, we are told that there has been an emergency landing of an army helicopter in Hanumangarh in Rajasthan. The 9 MMK helicopter landed at a field in the village of Dholipal. We are still trying to get more details of what really happened. All we know for now is that there was an army chopper that had to make an emergency landing in Hanumangarh. This emergency landing took place a short while ago. Those are pictures on your screen of the army chopper landing in Dholipal village in Hanumangarh. So that is an emergency landing that took place. Amardeep is on the phone line, is joining us live. In fact, Amardeep, please share more details with us. Is the pilot safe?
देखिए बिल्कुल हनुमानगढ़ में सेना के चॉपर की आपात लैंडिंग है, इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग है। धोलीपाल की करावली वाली गांव में इसकी लैंडिंग हुई है। इस चॉपर में 5 वायुसेना के सैनिक जो थे वो मौजूद थे। इमरजेंसी हालात में इस चॉपर की लैंडिंग खेत में कराई गई थी। चूंकि सूरतगढ़ एयरबेस जो है वो हनुमानगढ़ से बेहद नज़दीक है, ऐसे में तमाम जो वायुसेना के अधिकारी और सेना के जवान जो हैं वो इस लोकेशन पे पहुंच रहे हैं और पहुंचने के बाद ये जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि आखिर कौन सी खामी रही जिसकी वजह से इस सेना के चॉपर की इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग खेत में करनी पड़ी। अभी चूंकि उसमें 5 जो वायुसेना के जवान मौजूद थे और जिस हालात में इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग हुई है ये बिल्कुल सेफ लैंडिंग हुई है, कोई हताहत की बात नहीं है। क्योंकि बहुत सेफली इस लैंडिंग को किया गया है तो इसमें समझ में आ सकती है कि आसपास के ग्रामीण और लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन जो भी था वो भी इस लोकेशन पे अब हेल्प के लिए पहुंच चुका है।
All right, so pictures on your screen are of that emergency chopper landing that took place in Dholipal, and Amardeep, of course, is bringing us details in terms of what really happened. Amardeep, as we can see, a large number of people, of course, are there, and we are learning that senior officials have also gone there to ascertain the cause of this emergency landing.
देखिए बिल्कुल जिस तरीके से मैंने बताया कि हनुमानगढ़ से सूरतगढ़ एयरबेस की दूरी बहुत कम है, बहुत नज़दीक एयरबेस वहाँ पे है। जिस जगह लैंडिंग हुई है, इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग हुई है, वहाँ से करीब 50 से 60 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर ही सूरतगढ़ एयरबेस रह जाता है। ऐसे में सूरतगढ़ एयरबेस से वायुसेना के अधिकारी और वायुसेना के अधिकारियों के साथ साथ में जो चीफ इंजीनियर्स हैं वो वहाँ पे पहुँच करके इस चॉपर की खामी को जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि आखिर क्या वजह रही और कौन सी वो इशू थे जिसकी वजह से इसकी आपातकालीन लैंडिंग खेत में करानी पड़ी। सबसे बड़ी चीज ये है और सुखद चीज ये है कि ये आपातकालीन लैंडिंग सुरक्षित रही, इसमें किसी भी तरीके की कोई हताहत नहीं हुई और ना ही किसी तरीके का जानमाल का नुकसान हुआ है। जिस तरीके से पायलट ने अपनी सूझबूझ दिखाते हुए इसकी आपात लैंडिंग खेत में कराई है, क्योंकि मौसम अभी रेनी सीजन चल रहा है, उस सिचुएशन में लैंडिंग कराना कहीं ना कहीं दिक्कत और परेशानी भरा होता है।
Absolutely, absolutely. As you're pointing out, a tragedy over there averted. There was an emergency landing which carried out. All personnel on board are safe. Thank you, Amardeep. And here's a look at some other news. The BJP has hit out at the Congress leader Siddaramaiah for allegedly visiting a temple after eating non-vegetarian food. In response to the scandal, Siddaramaiah has said that the BJP is an expert at lighting fires when there is peace. Former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray expelled Minister Uday Samant and senior leader Yashwant Yadav from the Sena party today. Now both the ministers have joined the Chief Minister Shinde's camp. Shocking visuals on your screens show an assault on a school teacher in Goa. A complaint has been registered against the PWD engineer Altaf Sheikh for allegedly assaulting a school teacher. Meanwhile, the police is investigating the matter. The JNU Vice Chancellor sparked a row, saying anthropologically gods do not belong to the upper caste and that gods could be from the scheduled caste or tribe. She also said an I quote, status of Shudras given to women in Manu Smriti makes it extraordinarily regressive.
No god is a Brahmin. The highest is a Kshatriya. Lord Shiva must be a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe. Because he sits in a cemetery with a snake and has very little, poor thing, we have given him very little clothes also to wear.
In the latest development in Pahalgam accident, an ITBP Jawan has succumbed to his injuries, taking the total death toll to 8. Meanwhile, more than 30 Jawans are being treated in different hospitals in Jammu and Kashmir. Reacting to yesterday's protest in Bihar, where police were seen charging with lathis on protesters, the BJP leader Naval Kishore Yadav has said that the entire incident is unfortunate. He further added that our national flag was also insulted.
आंख के सामने स्क्रीन पर जिस तरह से उस बच्चे को मारा जा रहा है, और लोकतंत्र में मारने का कहाँ जगह है। लंबी लंबी बात करते हैं, कभी चाचा करते हैं, 20 लाख भतीजा करते हैं, 10 लाख नौकरी देंगे, अदला अदली बोल रहे हैं।
In another reaction from the RJD leader Shivanand Tiwari on Bihar's protest, he said that the incident was brutal. He further urged the Bihar government to suspend the officer.
हम तो अनुरोध करेंगे सरकार से, नीतीश जी से भी अनुरोध करेंगे, तेजस्वी जी से भी अनुरोध करेंगे, उस पदाधिकारी को तत्काल सस्पेंड किया जाना चाहिए और इस बात की जांच करानी चाहिए।
Unidentified persons allegedly stole 10 ancient idols from a temple in Maharashtra's Jalna district. 700 years old ancient idols remain missing from Jamb Samarth temple. Meanwhile, NCP leader Rajesh Tope urged the management to inquire about the matter.
आज पहाटे जे रामदास स्वामी त्या ठिकाणी रामाचं, लक्ष्मणाचं, हनुमानाच्या ज्या पूजा करायच्या ॲक्च्युअली मूर्तींच्या पंचधातूच्या मूर्ती, ते पहाटे 3 वाजता काही अज्ञात चोरट्यांनी कंप्लीटली या सगळ्या 700 वर्ष पूर्वीच्या ह्या सगळ्या मूर्त्या चोरलेल्या आहेत. म्हणून मला एवढंच म्हणायचं, महाराष्ट्रभरातून लोक तिथे दर्शनाला येतात, मुंबईतून जातात, सगळीकडून जातात आणि त्यामुळे या संदर्भातलं आपण गांभीर्याने नोंद घेऊन कळवावं असं मला वाटतं.
Following a missing complaint, police has been examining CCTV footage from the temple to identify the suspects. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
You are watching Republic TV. We slip into a very short break. On the other side, we get you more news, including the JNU VC stokes a row, says no Hindu god was a Brahmin. And the Tamil Nadu finance minister sparks another controversy, compares the Modi government to the British rule at the Oxford Union debate.
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
Elections will be held and the Supreme Court has appointed a returning officer who will oversee a fair election. All associations across India will have a representation, which means it is as democratic as it can get in Indian football. The Supreme Court has said the decisions taken to dissolve the COA of the AIFF has been done keeping the interest of India and Indian football in mind, which means they want the World Cup to be held in India at any cost.
एबीपी के कार्यकर्ताओं ने रोड पर अभी जाम लगा दिया है. इन पर लाठीचार्ज हुआ था और लाठीचार्ज करने के बाद यहाँ पे अब लगातार गहलोत सरकार के खिलाफ नारेबाजी जो है वो यूनिवर्सिटी के छात्र कर रहे हैं.
Sensational assassination plot involving an ISIS terrorist, a native of a Central Asian country, was hired in Turkey, was tasked with bombing an Indian leadership elite, was headed to India, arrested by Russia.
Was coming to India after having been indoctrinated.
If you look in India, we are well on our way to a Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Tamil Nadu Finance Minister Thiagarajan has sparked a massive roar, compared the Modi government to the British Raj. He was speaking at the Oxford Union address. Welcome back. Now, a Tata court that's hearing the Yaseen Malik case in Jammu over the abduction of Rubaiyah Syed has in fact issued a non-bailable warrant against Rubaiyah Syed. This is over the fact that she did not appear today. The next date of hearing has been set for the 21st of September 2022. We are given to understand that the bailable warrant has been issued against Rubaiyah Syed. She is the sister of Mehbooba Mufti. The warrant has been issued for not appearing today. So that's the latest that we are getting. Gursimran on joining us live right now from Jammu. Gursimran, give us more details of what happened in court. Rubaiyah Syed, of course, had been summoned by the court to appear today.
Yes, Rubaiyah Syed was issued a summon by the Tata court, which is hearing the case of abduction of Rubaiyah Syed. Then in last hearing, she appeared and she has identified Yaseen Malik as one of her abductors. But during today's hearing, she was not present, after which the court has taken the cognizance, because last time she was also asked to appear before the court for the proceedings so that this case can be taken forward at an earliest. But this time she wasn't in the courtroom. She didn't appear and the court has taken the cognizance and a bailable warrant has been issued against Rubaiyah Syed. She has been asked to appear on the next date of hearing, that is scheduled on 21st of September 2022. That is on the next month. After 30 days, she has been asked to appear before the special Tata court. See, this holds a relevance because the court is very keen to ensure that the speedy trial is done and also the cross-examination of the witness is done at a rapid speed, so that the perpetrators who were behind the abduction of Rubaiyah Syed and also in the other case, that is the killing of 4 Indian Air Force personnel, they can be brought to justice. But Rubaiyat Sayyad's delay tactics, the court has seen that, and the court has now issued a bailable warrant against the Mehbooba Mufti's sister, Rubaiyat Sayyad. Yes.
But absolutely, this of course is a case that pertains to her kidnapping. Now, what is the reason that's been given for her not appearing?
See, from her side, no one appeared in the court and no reason was given. There was nothing such that was conveyed to the CBI counsel or to the court by the Rubaiyat Sayyad side, and that's why the court has issued a straight bailable warrant against Rubaiyat Sayyad, and clear directions have been passed that she has to appear in the next hearing. And we are getting to know that for 5 to 6 consecutive hearings related to her cross-examination as the witness of the case and also as victim, she has to be here. Otherwise, more summons and warrants will be issued against her if she skips these hearings of the court.
Right, any observations that were made by the court, because we are given to understand that they have asked for her to be present in the courtroom physically?
No, when she was not present, the judge has simply gone through the various things that were involved in the case, including the Yaseen Malik was also present during via physical virtual appearance, and he has demanded something else, but that.
All right, thank you for joining us on that. Now, news just coming in. We are just learning that India team's head coach Rahul Dravid has tested positive for COVID-19 and is not travelling for the Asia Cup to Dubai. BCCI sources have told Republic TV that the India head coach Rahul Dravid has tested positive for COVID-19 and will not be travelling for the Asia Cup to Dubai. Rahul Dravid, of course, has tested positive for COVID-19. This is what we are learning from the BCCI sources. Do remember that the Asia Cup takes place in Dubai. Unfortunately, Rahul Dravid will not be able to travel to Dubai for the Asia Cup since he has tested positive for COVID-19. Well, the Indian team, of course, is all set to leave for Dubai for participating in the Asia Cup. News coming in with regards to the fact that the Indian coach Rahul Dravid has unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19 and will not be travelling to Dubai for the Asia Cup that takes place shortly. However, the Indian team, of course, has begun its preparations and is leaving for Dubai to participate in the Asia Cup. There is, of course, a lot of excitement over India taking on top teams at the Asia Cup in Dubai. Rahul Dravid unfortunately has tested positive for COVID-19 and he will not be travelling to Dubai. The men in blue, of course, have left for Dubai to play the Asia Cup T20 cricket event Rahul Dravid was also supposed to make his way. Do remember that he's the head coach. However, because of testing positive for COVID-19, he has had to skip the Asia Cup. He will not be travelling at the moment, at least. We have Srijani joining us. Srijani is reporting from the newsroom on this. Srijani, unfortunate piece of news coming in. Rahul Dravid testing positive and he will not be able to travel to Dubai with the team.
Well, yeah, Nupur, as we wait for the official confirmation by the BCCI, there are reports, several reports, doing rounds that Rahul Dravid, India head coach, he has tested COVID positive, and it remains to be seen, whether he will be traveling with Team India for the Asia Cup 2022 tournament. And right now, we already have lost Bumrah and the senior pacer Jasprit Bumrah and Harshal Patel, who are not traveling with the team. And right now, the absence of Rahul Dravid in the team will surely affect Team India's preparations ahead of Asia Cup.
Absolutely. Srijani bringing us those details about Rahul Dravid testing positive. He will unfortunately have to miss it for now. He will not be travelling to Dubai. That's what we're learning from our sources within the BCCI. And here's a shocker that's coming in from Pune. A woman was forced to bathe naked publicly by her in-laws in Pune. This case has been reported from Pune in Maharashtra, where she was forced by her husband and her in-laws to bathe publicly in front of them as part of a ritual advised by the local Maulana to have a male child. Now, the woman in her complaint alleged that her in-laws had been harassing her mentally and physically since 2013 for dowry and for also not being able to give birth to a male child, following which she was going through she was asked to go through several black magic rituals on many occasions. Now, following the complaint by the woman, the Pune police on Sunday registered a FIR against 4 people, including her husband, her in-laws, as well as the occultist who is involved in this particular case. He goes by the name of Maulana Baba Jamadar. So, shocker coming in there from Pune, where a woman was forced to take her bath publicly by her in-laws. The woman in her complaint, of course, has said that she's being harassed since 2013 for dowry and for not being able to give birth to a male child, following which, of course, she was asked by her in-laws and her husband to undergo several black magic rituals. This one being one of them. The Pune police have registered an FIR against 4 people, including her husband, her in-laws, and an occultist. Joining me on the phone line is Alicia. Alicia, give us more details, please.
Well, this is an incident in Pune where a woman was forced by her husband and in-laws to take a bath naked in front of the people is what the Pune police has informed, and this is something a ritual, and that is something has been asked by a Maulana to have a male child. Even the complaint that has been given by a woman to the police officials clearly mentioning that she's been harassed by her husband and in-laws since 2013, whether it is for the dowry and also for not giving birth to a male child, after which several times she was harassed by her in-laws and husband, after which she was even asked to take a bath naked in front of the people after which she will give a birth to a male child, is what been said by a Maulana, after which Pune police has registered an FIR against her husband, in-laws, and also against Maulana, where the police has been investigating into the matter.
Also, in her complaint, Alicia, she seems to suggest that she has been facing physical harassment for dowry since 2013. What are the police saying?
Police has already started the initial investigation, and importantly, they have registered a case because in the complaint that was filed by a victim who clearly mentioned that she's been harassed for dowry, she's been harassed for not giving a birth to a male child, and it's been 2013 where she's been harassed by her husband and her in-laws. And the mostly important the matter where she has registered a complaint only after when her in-laws and husband asked her to take a bath in a naked, which has been asked by a Maulana. Pune police has already registered a case against her husband and her in-laws, and also against a Maulana. Minute-to-minute update only on Republic TV. We'll be back after a short break. Stay tuned.
Why is it becoming about enforcement directive? How did 50 lakh rupees became 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Kartik. You should be able to speak about it, Kartik.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
मनीष सिसोदिया के पुतले को आग लगा दी गई है, केजरीवाल के पुतले को आग लगा दी गई है, और अब तीसरा पुतला सत्येंद्र जैन के रूप में उसको भी आग के हवाले कर दिया गया है। ये बैरिकेड तोड़ने की कोशिश कार्यकर्ताओं की तरफ स्वदेश गुप्ता जो बैरिकेड के ऊपर चढ़ गए हैं और बैरिकेड को क्रॉस करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। अरविंद केजरीवाल इस्तीफा दो के नारे, लगातार पोस्टर, और यही मांग की जा रही है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल मनीष सिसोदिया को बर्खास्त करें, सत्येंद्र जैन को बर्खास्त करें। कैबिनेट में दोनों बने हुए हैं।
We
are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
Elections will be held in the Supreme.
Well, the Supreme Court will be hearing a plea seeking directions to the Election Commission of India to not permit political parties to promise freebies during election campaign. Now, in the last hearing, the Supreme Court had orally opined that the issues raised in the matter were getting increasingly complicated, and the Supreme Court, of course, has now decided to hear a plea seeking directions to the Election Commission of India to not permit political parties to promise freebies during an election campaign. The plea was filed by the former BJP spokesperson Ashwini Upadhyay. Political parties like the Aam Aadmi Party and the DMK, of course, have sought to intervene in the matter. We are now learning the Supreme Court's bench of the Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramanna, Justices J.K. Maheshwari and Hima Kohli will be hearing this matter. So the freebie case will now be heard in the Supreme Court. You're watching Republic TV. When we return, we get you more details of the Supreme Court hearing the case on freebies. So the freebie face-off is now in the Supreme Court.
एबीपी के कार्यकर्ताओं ने रोड पर अभी जाम लगा दिया है। इन पर लाठीचार्ज हुआ था और लाठीचार्ज करने के बाद यहाँ पे अब लगातार गहलोत सरकार के खिलाफ नारेबाजी जो है वो यूनिवर्सिटी के छात्र कर रहे हैं।
Sensational assassination plot involving an ISIS terrorist, a native of a Central Asian country, was hired in Turkey, was tasked with bombing an Indian leadership elite, was headed to India, arrested by Russia.
Was coming to India after having been indoctrinated, trained to carry out a suicide bombing. It's perhaps for the first time that an international operation of this kind has unraveled.
Why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees became 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Kartik. You should be able to speak about it, Kartik.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
मनीष सिसोदिया के पुतले को आग लगा दी गई है, केजरीवाल के पुतले को आग लगा दी गई है और अब तीसरा पुतला सत्येंद्र जैन के रूप में उसको भी आग के हवाले कर दिया गया है।
Freebies case now being heard in the Supreme Court of India, where the court was also hearing what happens. The Supreme Court bench led by the Chief Justice is hearing this matter. And this matter, when the Chief Justice of India starts off by talking about how he's read over the submissions that had been submitted by Mr. Kapil Sibal, he says the question is no one can deny this is an issue. He also says tomorrow, suppose a particular state, one of the freebies, we are the beneficiaries of the scheme. Can we say it's the prerogative if we are not against any policies of the government, but we also question that the debate has to take place. So he's trying to tell everyone why this freebies that are given out by political parties is an extremely important discussion to have. The Solicitor General of India also comes up and says nobody can question the responsibility of any party. The difficulty arises when some party distributes saris, some gives TV sets, some voters complained, petition filed in the Delhi High Court, Chief Minister made a promise and then he directed to be fulfilled. Tushar Mehta, the top law officer of the government, the SG, says in such circumstances, will the court remain a mere spectator? He says the voter has a right to have an informed choice. If you're giving him false promises with which your finances do not permit, or you're destroying the economy, would that be permitted? Very, very detailed words coming in right now from the Solicitor General and the Supreme Court making an observation. We are not looking at the issue of freebies only at the time of election. The Supreme Court says we are not against anything. With good intentions for the people and economy of the country, we started this discussion. So the top bench hearing the freebies case continues to hear it, and the Solicitor General making it very clear that giving freebies by political parties is not going to solve the issue. The voters should have an informed choice. The Solicitor General says if false promises are given, it does not permit anyone to move forward. It should not be permitted. The Solicitor General has also informed the Supreme Court about the choices ahead. Kapil Sibal appears in the matter, and he also gives out a different viewpoint. He says a body which is non-political has to handle this. Someone needs to have a mechanism, because like the Election Commission of India, like the Finance Commission, the details of the deficit should be there. Finance Commission should deal with the deficits of the state and see what has to happen. But the Supreme Court also raises another very important question on the policies of the governments that are giving out freebies. They say, can we say it's the prerogative? If we are not against policies of the government, we are not against these schemes. Tomorrow the government makes a law that states should not make freebies. Can we say the government can say whatever we cannot look into? In the interest of the welfare of the people and the economy, we started looking into the issue. A committee needs to be made. So I think, viewers, as the hearing progresses, we've heard three viewpoints coming in. One, the observations of the top court of the country and the Chief Justice of India. One is the details that are coming from Kapil Sibal, and of course, more importantly, what is also being stated by the Solicitor General. Senior Advocate Vikas Singh is also there. He says the question is, the government is going on in a state and the other person says we will provide this as extra. Where is this money coming from? Where are you getting the money? Should be a part of the manifesto. All these things coming when last time we had heard in a welfare state freebie should not be allowed because it's a serious issue. And now Vikas Singh, who's the senior advocate in the case, also saying possibly what the Solicitor General said, that this has an effect on the exchequer, which is something the Solicitor General had said earlier also. The question is, the government is going on in a state and the other person says we will provide this as extra. Where is the money coming from should also be a part of the manifesto. Very, very crucial details that are coming in from the top court, and this hearing continues in the Supreme Court as we are trying to get a sense of what the Chief Justice is saying. He's saying tomorrow a particular state gives a scheme and we're all beneficiaries of the scheme. Can it be said it's the prerogative of the government, so you cannot look into this? A debate is needed. There should be a committee. He reads out the submissions by Kapil Sibal. Tushar Mehta replies. Now we're hearing the arguments by Vikas Singh. He says just during election, as it creates an unlevel field, no one is saying don't give free water. We are saying that there is already governance in the state. You are contesting and saying I will provide additional benefits. This will require fiscal support. Where will you get the money from? Voter has a right to know, taxpayer should know. Election manifesto must provide where the money is coming from.
Rhythm is pointing out, of course, this is an issue that's reached the top court. And Rhythm, as we were pointing out earlier, of course, the Supreme Court extremely keen on hearing this issue because the SG in the Supreme Court has said that, the freebie culture, in a sense, needs to be tackled.
Yes. So, in a sense, what is happening right now is Vikas Singh reading out Subramaniam Bajaj judgment is now trying to point out the reality of what freebies in an economy is all about and what the political parties are trying to derive from it, Nupur. He says the reality cannot be ruled out. Distribution on freebies disrupts the level playing field. And at the end of the day, freebies are not being given for anyone but the political parties to be able to get some access to votes. And that is exactly what is being pointed out in the Supreme Court, that this impacts the exchequer and this is a serious issue for which there needs to be a mechanism.
All right, Rhythm, thank you for that. But do stay with us. I think we are getting more news with regards to the Supreme Court. Now, we are now learning that the Supreme Court has in fact given a mouthful to Swami Ramdev for deriding other medicine systems, especially allopathy, and claiming through misleading advertisements that the Ayurveda system practiced by him can cure incurable diseases. The Supreme Court has said that he should be retained. Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj, our legal editor, still with us on this. Rhythm, the Supreme Court mincing no words in its observations, saying that we respect Ramdev popularizing yoga, but he has no business to deride other systems.
Absolutely. The Supreme Court therefore giving out and issuing a notice in this case to get a sense of what's been happening, because this notice is Nupur on a plea that's filed by the Indian Medical Association. They moved the court, they alleged running of a smear campaign against vaccination drive and modern allopathic medicines across the country, to which the Supreme Court, when they spoke about Swami Ramdev, said that why is he deriding other medical systems, especially allopathy, claiming through misleading advertisements that Ayurveda system practiced by him can cure incurable diseases. The bench heard the advocate Prabhas Bajaj, who appeared for the IMA before them, and the Chief Justice said, we respect Ramdev popularizing yoga, but he should not be deriding other systems. They've asked the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta to take instructions on actions against them. Let me also go across to Dr. J.A. Jayalal, former IMA president, joining us on the phone line. Dr. Jayalal, we've done several programs with you, especially I remember during the COVID crisis that had taken on the country. Today this plea has been moved, a notice has been issued on it. What is it that really is trying to be said about the vaccination drive and medicines that are allopathic in nature?
Yeah, well, right, Indian Medical Association is always, we are in favor of multiple systems is available in our country, especially we respect Ayurveda and we want that Ayurveda system to grow. But people with a business mind and people with a self-interest are now proclaiming that they are be able to give a miracle treatment, and without giving any treatment also they are able to cure the disease, which we, by every sense, by all the good-minded people should know that the diseases are incurable. But giving an advertisement, giving a false hope to the people that whatever the situation you will be able to cure the disease is definitely misleading the people, and it is the great insult they are going to the medical profession, whether it is Ayurveda or modern medicine. Every system has its own way of treating a disease, the way of giving a cure to the disease. So I think that this is the right time the government of India, where our Honorable Prime Minister is always interested in scientific output, should interfere and stop such a fallacious claims or such a comments which is made by people of respectable people. I'm sure Baba Ramdev must have been respected by the many people. There's nothing wrong in that. Let him give a right way of information to the people. We always accept that. But misleading the people, it is dangerous to the country. That is why Indian Medical Association is going to the court and seeking the intervention of the court to stop such misleading comments being made in the public.
Absolutely. And as the Supreme Court listens to all this, they've also questioned the motives behind accusing doctors in allopathy. There's a notice issued to the Union of India. It shall be coming up, Nupur, soon in the top court of the country.
All right, of course, as Rhythm is pointing out, the top court, Rhythm, also, in a statement saying it is better that the centre restrains him. And you were speaking to Dr. Jayalal over there. There has been a considerable outrage amongst the medical community in the country over the kind of advertisements that he has put out in newspapers. Essentially, what they feel is targeting of all other medicine systems.
Oh yes, absolutely. So the Supreme Court, when they were hearing the case, were told by the IMA, and we just spoke to former IMA Dr. Jayalal, the kind of disparaging statements made, Nupur, and the public was being misguided. The IMA said, they say doctors were taking allopathy but still succumbing to during the COVID wave. If this happens, then it will cause a serious prejudice to doctors. Justice Ravi Kumar, hearing this case, says that it appears allopathy is being mocked at, and the Chief Justice of India had given this observation as to why Baba Ramdev is accusing doctors in allopathy. He popularized yoga, which is good, but he should not criticize other systems, not abuse the system, stating that the notice has been issued to the Union of India to answer in this case.
So, as Rhythm is pointing out, the government has been asked to answer in this case. Rhythm, thank you for joining us with those details. And in Patna, we are learning that there has been a firing incident that has been reported in Digha. A person has been shot at over there. The incident is said to be near the Nirala Traders. After the incident, the name of the injured, we are trying to still get details of what has happened in this particular case, but we're going to try and get you visuals of what really happened. We are now learning that there has been an incident of firing that has been reported near Digha. The person, a man has been shot at in Patna. Well, we are still trying to get more details as to what really happened, but what we know so far is that there was an incident of firing that has been reported from Digha in Bihar. Prakash joining us live from Patna for more on this. Prakash, give us more details of what really happened.
Well, if you are talking about the incident that took place in Digha, then a firing has taken place in which one person was shot dead and one injured as well. And we've got CCTV footage of the concerned incident. And day in and day out, incidences like this are occurring in different parts of Bihar. There have been reports, several reports, and in this particular incident, the onlookers and the eyewitness said that they heard gun firing late last night, and after that, people assembled there and tried to salvage the situation, save the person concerned, rushed him to the nearby hospital. The concerned person who can be seen in the CCTV footage with a pistol in his hand is on the run. The police is trying to identify the person concerned, and in order to nab the culprits, raids are being conducted at different places.
Right now, Prakash, as you're pointing out, we have seen reports of such incidents come in from Bihar, and the Nitish Kumar government with its new partners is receiving considerable flack for not being able to rein in criminals.
Well, ever since the formation of the Mahagathbandhan government in Bihar, we have been witnessing the rise in the crime graph, and that's what we have been witnessing. But yesterday what happened with the students, the teachers who are yet to be recruited and they had passed the eligibility test, the way they were assaulted, it seems that the administration is blindfolded to all these incidences, and it seems that certain sections of the society are emboldened, and that is why these incidences are taking place after the formation of the RJD-JDU government.
All right, so Prakash Singh, of course, is bringing us the latest on this. Now, Prakash, we were earlier asking you about this particular incident that's been reported from Digha, where one person was shot at. What are the police saying in terms of who could be behind this? We are given to understand that CCTV footage is also being looked upon. प्रकाश
आइए आप लोग स्टूडेंट हैं ना yes
well Prakash I was asking
yes
Prakash I was speaking to you about this particular incident that has been reported from Digha. In these visuals we can see a person running away after firing at a local over there. What are the police telling you in terms of the investigation that is taking place?
Well, I'm joined by the students here, and they were assaulted yesterday by one of the ADM, and they are yet to be recruited. You can see the back of this student, how he was assaulted yesterday. ये क्या हुआ? कौन मारा आपको?
हम लोग आंदोलन कर रहे थे सर, विगत 22 दिन से हम लोग गर्दनी
नीतिगत बात, कोई व्यक्तिगत नहीं, कोई राजनीतिक बात नहीं। जो दिल्ली की एक्साइज पॉलिसी थी, एक नीतिगत निर्णय था। मैं पहले उसकी 4 लाइनें अंग्रेजी में आपके सामने बोलता हूं, उससे आपको स्पष्ट हो जाएगा कि इस नीति का मंतव्य क्या था। The Delhi excise policy for the year 21-22 says that no manufacturer or retail licensee shall be allowed to apply for wholesale license or vice versa. If wholesaler and manufacturers / retailers are common entities, there is a possibility of formation of syndicate leading to overcharging, brand influencing and pushing by entry into arrangement with certain brands at the cost of the exclusion of others. Also, the L1 licensee cannot own any of the retail vends, ध्यान दीजिएगा, either directly or through any sister concern. For this purpose, sister concern / related entities shall mean that the entities should not have common proprietors, common partners, or directors, or majority ownership, that is 51%, of the proprietorship or the partnership of the company. They shall not lie with the same person in all the entities. The entities shall not have holding, subsidiary, relationship or not subsidiary of the same holding company. कहने का तात्पर्य यह है कि आबकारी नीति का सबसे बड़ा नीतिगत विषय यह था कि उत्पादक, वितरक एक समान नहीं होने चाहिए, क्योंकि इससे यह संभावना रहती है कि वो बाजार में अपना एकाधिपत्य बनाकर आगे जाकर मनचाहे तरीके से दामों को प्रभावित कर सकते हैं। और जब ये कहा गया कि प्रोड्यूसर, रिटेलर एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, यानी कि उत्पादक, वितरक अगर एक नहीं होने चाहिए तो वो कंपनियां किसी भी प्रकार से एक दूसरे से संबद्ध नहीं होनी चाहिए। और संबद्धता की विधिवत परिभाषा भी की गई है, अर्थात एक दूसरे के कॉमन डायरेक्टर नहीं होने चाहिए, एक दूसरे की शेयर होल्डिंग नहीं होनी चाहिए, व्यक्ति भी एक दूसरे में कॉमन नहीं होने चाहिए, और किसी भी एक कंपनी की दूसरी कंपनी में मेजॉरिटी ओनरशिप नहीं होनी चाहिए। यानी प्रत्यक्ष या परोक्ष, यहां तक कि दूसरे या तीसरे टियर से भी परोक्ष रूप से आप प्रकारांतर से भी उत्पादन और वितरण को एक साथ नियंत्रित नहीं कर सकते। परंतु अब यह प्रश्न आता है, यह हम नहीं पूछ रहे हैं, एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट ने नोटिस देकर पूछा 25 अक्टूबर 2021, 25 अक्टूबर 2021, आज 10 महीने हो चुके हैं। उन्होंने कंपनी का नाम लिया कि एनरिच हैज अप्लाइड फॉर L1 डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर लाइसेंस यूजिंग द क्रीडेंशियल ऑफ ए लिकर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी एनरिका एंटरप्राइज हैविंग इट्स डिस्टिलरी एट चेन्नई। यानी ये हो गई उत्पादक कंपनी, मैन्युफैक्चरर। अब वो कह रहे हैं एनरिच इज ऑल्सो अप्लाइड फॉर L1 डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लाइसेंस डिस्पाइट बीइंग रिलेटेड टू Magunta Agro and Pixie, which have won retail zone licensing for zone number 4, 23 and 22 with a malicious intent for forming a cartel. आप बताइए, one company is manufacturer, it is also a partner in the distributor, और 3 zones का distribution उसको मिल जाता है। अब इसमें किसी प्रकार का कोई किंतु परंतु का की संभावना नहीं रह जाती है कि जो नीति तय की गई थी पारदर्शिता को लाने के लिए वो पूरी तरीके से प्रभावित दिखाई पड़ती है। दूसरा एक उदाहरण है, इन और 3 जोन्स का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन उसको मिल जाता है। अब इसमें किसी प्रकार का कोई किंतु परंतु का की संभावना नहीं रह जाती है कि जो नीति तय की गई थी पारदर्शिता को लाने के लिए वो पूरी तरीके से प्रभावित दिखाई पड़ती है। दूसरा एक उदाहरण है, इंडो स्प्रिट बेवरेजेस प्राइवेट लिमिटेड है, इंडो स्प्रिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन प्राइवेट लिमिटेड है, और इंडो स्प्रिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन प्राइवेट लिमिटेड मेसर्स खाओ गली रेस्टोरेंट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के साथ संबंधित है। यहां पर भी वही कंपनी उत्पादक है और वही शेयर होल्डर है। मैं उसमें बहुत डिटेल्स में नहीं जा रहा हूं, आप चाहें तो जाके चेक कर सकते हैं। और यह भारतीय जनता पार्टी का आरोप नहीं है, यह एक तथ्य है जो आबकारी विभाग ने 10 महीने पहले दिल्ली सरकार से पूछा, तो अब दिल्ली सरकार यह कह के बचाव नहीं कर सकती कि हमारी जानकारी में नहीं था, हम जांच कराएंगे। इससे बिल्कुल साफ हो जाता है कि इन लोगों ने आबकारी नीति में जानकारी में आने के बाद पूरी तरीके से उद्देश्य के साथ बात की है। इसलिए हम उनसे कहना चाहेंगे कि जवाब हमें आबकारी पे चाहिए, ना ईमानदारी की बात करिए, ना बिरादरी की बात करिए। दिल्ली की जनता यह जानना चाहती है कि आप आबकारी की बात करिए, और जब एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट ने आपको इस प्रकार का नोटिस दिया तो आपने संबंधित कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं की? क्योंकि यह नोटिस तथ्यों के आधार के ऊपर है, जिसमें जो पॉलिसी मैंने आपको बताई उसको सीधे सीधे तरीके से ध्वस्त किया गया है। तो मैं सिर्फ यह कहना चाहूंगा, एक्साइज पॉलिसी तो यह कहती है कि मैन्युफैक्चरर, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर एंड रिटेलर एक नहीं होना चाहिए, परंतु यहां ये मिथ्या भ्रम और झूठ के मैन्युफैक्चरर भी यही हैं, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर भी यही हैं और रिटेलर भी वही हैं, और उसके बाद पूरी निर्लज्जता के साथ जनता के सामने आकर यह दावा करने वाले कि सबसे बड़े ईमानदार वो हैं, इस असत्य के परपिट्रेटर भी वही हैं। अब मैं अनुरोध करूंगा हमारे दिल्ली के सांसद प्रवेश साहिब सिंह वर्मा जी से कि वो आगे का विषय आपके समक्ष रखेंगे।
धन्यवाद सुधांशु जी। सभी मेरे पत्रकार मित्रों, अभी सुधांशु जी ने जिस कमेटी की रिपोर्ट का जिक्र किया वो कमेटी पॉलिसी से पहले बनाई गई थी दिल्ली सरकार द्वारा, और उनको अपने रिकमेंडेशन देने के लिए कहा था। कुछ बातों की जानकारी सुधांशु जी ने दी है, कुछ बातों की जानकारी मैं देता हूं कमेटी के बारे में। कि कमेटी ने एक रिकमेंडेशन करी कि अवॉइडिंग ऑफ माल प्रैक्टिस लाइक ब्रांड पुशिंग, कि आप कोई प्रचार नहीं कर सकते कि शराब ज्यादा बिके, मगर आपने छूट दे दी कि एक पेटी के बदले में एक पेटी फ्री दीजिए। पूरे दिल्ली में नहीं, पूरे देश में यह प्रचार था कि दिल्ली में एक पेटी के साथ में एक पेटी फ्री मिल रही है, और दिल्ली से बाहर से लोग आकर दिल्ली से खरीद रहे थे। तो उस चीज का प्रचार ये अकॉर्डिंग टू कमेटी रिपोर्ट ये नहीं कर सकते थे। एक इन्होंने जो कमेटी की रिकमेंडेशन थी कि होल सेल ऑपरेशन अंडर वन गवर्नमेंट एंटिटी, इस बात को नोट कीजिएगा, बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है कि होल सेल ऑपरेशन अंडर वन गवर्नमेंट एंटिटी, द मॉडल टू बी फॉलोड शुड बी सिमिलर टू द वन एज फॉलोड इन द स्टेट ऑफ कर्नाटका, वेयर KSBCL, कर्नाटका स्टेट बेवरेज कॉर्पोरेशन लिमिटेड। तो कर्नाटक में जो वहां पर मॉडल चल रहा था कि जो होलसेल है, होलसेल का जो काम है वो सरकार को ही करना चाहिए। जो हम बार बार एक आरोप लगाते हैं जिसका आम आदमी पार्टी अभी तक कोई जवाब नहीं दे पाई, ना उनके पास में जवाब है, कि जो L1 का कमीशन इन्होंने, L1 मतलब है होलसेलर, L1 का कमीशन इन्होंने 2% से 12% क्यों किया, इसका कभी ये लोग जवाब नहीं देते। तो कमेटी ने कहा कि जैसे कर्नाटक में होता है कि वहां पे सरकार ही होलसेल का काम करती है, तो यहां पर भी सरकार होलसेल का काम करे ताकि हम उसको कंट्रोल कर सकें और सरकार को मुनाफा आए। फिर ये कमेटी की रिपोर्ट में कहा कि नॉन कंफर्मिंग एरियाज, जैसे कि गांव हैं, जैसे कि कॉलोनीज हैं, जहां पर कोई कमर्शियल मार्केट नहीं है, जहां पर कोई DDA की, कोई MCD की मार्केट नहीं है, वहां पर नहीं खुल सकती दुकानें। मगर इन्होंने जब ऑक्शन किया जोन्स का, तो इन्होंने नॉन कंफर्मिंग एरिया को भी बेच दिया। उसके बाद में कमेटी कहती है कि ओनली इंडिविजुअल कैन अप्लाई फॉर लाइसेंस, यानी कि इनका टारगेट था कि 800 दुकान खोलेंगे, तो 800 लोगों को एक एक दुकान एक एक आदमी को देंगे। कभी कमेटी ने नहीं कहा कि आप पूरा कार्टेल बनाकर एक एक आदमी को 100 दुकान दे दीजिए, एक एक आदमी को 2 जोन दे दीजिए, कभी कमेटी ने ऐसा नहीं कहा। उसके बाद में कमेटी ने, जो भी सुधांशु जी ने जिसका जिक्र किया, नो मैन्युफैक्चरर और होलसेल लाइसेंस होल्डर is allowed to bid for zonal lice, कि जो होलसेलर होगा वो मैन्युफैक्चरर नहीं हो सकता, जो मैन्युफैक्चरर होगा वो रिटेलर नहीं हो सकता, जो रिटेलर होगा वो मैन्युफैक्चरर नहीं हो सकता। मगर दो कंपनियों की मैं यहां पर अपना जिक्र करना चाहता हूं। एक है महादेव, वो तीनों ही है जो कि मिसेस चड्डा चलाते हैं। उसके बाद में एक है बड़ी पंजाब। तो ये दो कंपनियां ऐसी हैं जो तीनों का काम करती हैं। ये शराब बनाती भी हैं, इनके पास में L1 का लाइसेंस भी है और इनके पास में दिल्ली में जोन्स भी हैं। फिर एक है महादेव, एक है बड़ी पंजाब। फिर इसमें एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है कि इफ द एप्लीकेंट डज नॉट एक्सेप्ट द लाइसेंस आफ्टर विनिंग द बिड विद इन द स्टिपुलेटेड टाइम फ्रेम, EMD अमाउंट शेल स्टैंड फॉरफिटेड। जो इन्होंने 144 करोड़ रुपए वापस कर दिया लोगों का, ये बोल के कि कोविड चल रहा था, किसी छोटे व्यापारियों का 1 रुपया नहीं वापस। कंपनियां जिन्होंने बिड की थी और जिनको बिड में जोन मिल गए थे, जब वो नीचे से जाकर एनओसी नहीं लेके आए तो उनको पैसा वापस कर दिया गया। देश में दिल्ली में एक ऐसा ही राज्य है जहां शराब मंत्री भी वही है जो शिक्षा मंत्री है। तो एक तरफ एक शिक्षा की बात करते हैं और दूसरी तरफ ये बच्चों की उम्र को घटा देते हैं, उनको छूट देते हैं कॉलेज के बच्चों को कि आप जाके शराब पीजिए। हम बहुत अजीब सी बात है कि शिक्षा मंत्री हैं और हम इनसे केमिस्ट्री का सवाल पूछते हैं और ये हिस्ट्री का जवाब देते हैं। क्योंकि ये केमिस्ट्री का सवाल इसलिए नहीं उसका जवाब दे सकते क्योंकि 60% दिल्ली सरकार के स्कूल में साइंस नहीं पढ़ाई जाती है। इसलिए शिक्षा मंत्री से जब भी पूछो कि 2% से 12% क्यों किया, तो वो जवाब देते हैं कि हमारे घर में एक आज अपना डॉग को बच्चा हो गया, कुत्ते को बच्चा पैदा हो गया। हम उनसे जो है सवाल पूछते हैं कि आपने क्रेडिट नोट 18 करोड़ रुपए का एक एक, तो ये जो 2% से 12% की कमीशन कैसे ट्रांसफर होती थी कि क्रेडिट नोट ये देते थे। आप सभी कभी दुकान पर जाते होंगे, कोई जूता खरीदते होंगे, आपको जूता पसंद नहीं आता होगा, तो जब आप उसको वापस कराने जाते हैं तो आपको क्रेडिट नोट दे देते हैं कि ये 1 साल तक वैलिड रहेगा, इसके बदले में कभी भी जूता ले लेना या कभी भी उतने अमाउंट का कोई भी चीज ले लेना। तो ये रिटेलर्स को जो L1 होते थे वो सारे रिटेलर्स को क्रेडिट नोट इशू करते थे और वो क्रेडिट नोट के बदले में उनसे कैश लेकर वो आम आदमी पार्टी को ट्रांसफर किया करते थे। तो ये इनका सारा अपना मॉडल्स ऑपरेंडी था। ना ये क्रेडिट नोट का जवाब दे सकते हैं और ना ये 2% से 12% का जवाब देते हैं। ये सीधा पहुंच जाते हैं कि केजरीवाल तो प्रधानमंत्री के उम्मीदवार हैं। तो एक कोई गांव में अपना हड्डी सा पहलवान था, तो एक हमारे देश में गामा पहलवान हुए, बहुत जो है उनको रुस्तम हिंद भी बोलते थे। तो एक हड्डी सा पहलवान था राघव चड्डा जैसा, तो वो बार बार जो है चुनौती देता था कि गामा पहलवान को मेरे सामने लाओ, मैं उसको हरा दूंगा। तो ना गामा पहलवान ने उससे लड़ना था और जब अगर कभी वो आ भी जाता तो उसका हड्डी पहलवान का क्या होता, तो वो भाग जाता। तो ऐसे ये खुद ही 4 लोग कहीं पर भी जाके चैनल पर या किसी दूसरे राज्य में जाकर खुद ही एक दूसरे की पीठ जो है थपथपा रहे हैं कि इसको भारत रत्न मिलना चाहिए, इसको प्रधानमंत्री मिलना चाहिए, इसको ये मिलना चाहिए, इसको ये मिलना चाहिए। मैं आपको बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग फिगर एक जो है बताने वाला हूं और जब आप इनकी आम आदमी पार्टी की पीसी में जाएं तो जरूर उनसे ये वाला सवाल पूछें, इसका भी जवाब उनके पास नहीं होगा। कि आपने मनीष सिसोदिया को बार बार ये कहते सुना होगा कि हमारी दुकानें ज्यादा नहीं खुली इसलिए जो हमारा रेवेन्यू है वो कम आया। अब आप ये जो मैं आपको फिगर दे रहा हूं इसके बारे में जरा सुन लीजिए कि 2020 और 2021 में, अगर मैं 19 और 20 की बात करूं तो दिल्ली में 10,000 करोड़ की शराब बिकी 2019 और 2020 में। 2020 और 21 में दिल्ली में 7,860 करोड़ की शराब बिकी। और जब ये पॉलिसी आई तो केवल 7 महीने के अंदर में जो दिल्ली में शराब बिकी है वो अमाउंट है 10,000 करोड़ रुपया। तो जो पुरानी पॉलिसी में एक साल में 7,800 करोड़ की शराब एक साल में बिकती थी, इन्होंने 7 महीने में 10,000 करोड़ की शराब बिकी है दिल्ली में 7 महीने में। तो ये बात को नहीं कह सकते कि हमारी दुकानें कम खुली हैं इसलिए हमारी शराब जो है कम बिकी है। इनकी शराब 1.5 गुना ज्यादा बिकी है। और एक्साइज की ड्यूटी इन्होंने कर दी 1%। अब मैं आपको एक्साइज के ऊपर में भी आपको उनसे सवाल पूछना चाहिए कि 19-20 में आपको एक्साइज ड्यूटी 4,200 करोड़ रुपया सरकार को मिली। 20-21 में एक्साइज आपको 3,300 करोड़ रुपया मिला। मगर जब आप नई पॉलिसी लेके आए तो केवल 158 करोड़ रुपया एक्साइज मिला। एक्साइज 158 करोड़ रुपए, यानी कि एक्साइज में भी लॉस है और आपके रेवेन्यू में भी लॉस है। तो मैं मनीष सिसोदिया जी से पूछना चाहता हूं कि आप इस बात का जवाब दें कि आपकी सरकार को एक्साइज में 3,000 करोड़ का लॉस हुआ है और आपके रेवेन्यू में 3,500 करोड़ का लॉस हुआ है। यह सरकारी लॉस है, यह आपको हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, इस बात का जवाब दे दें। ये तो सारे डाटा होंगे एक्साइज के पास में, एक्साइज विभाग के पास में, आपके पास में। तो सरकार को पिछले साल की तुलना से एक्साइज में कितना लॉस हुआ है और आपको रेवेन्यू में कितना लॉस हुआ है, इस बात का मनीष सिसोदिया उत्तर दे दें कि आपको 3,500 करोड़ रुपए का लॉस हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है रेवेन्यू में, और 3,000 करोड़ रुपए का एक्साइज में लॉस हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, इस बात का जवाब दे दे। और जो 6,500 करोड़ रुपया सरकार को लॉस होता है, देखिए ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा क्राइम है कि सरकार जिस पॉलिसी में उसको 6,500 करोड़ रुपया ज्यादा मिल रहे हैं, अगर सरकार एक नई पॉलिसी लेकर आती है और उसमें ऐसे चेंजेस करती है कि जिसमें सरकार को 6,500 करोड़ रुपया कम आता है, तो ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा क्राइम है। तो वो 6,500 करोड़ रुपया कहां जाता है जो सरकार को लॉस हो रहा है? क्योंकि शराब तो ज्यादा बिक रही है, शराब कम नहीं बिक रही, मगर सरकार को जितना रेवेन्यू आना चाहिए था, जितना पैसा आना चाहिए था, वो नहीं आ रहा। तो वो पैसा कहां जा रहा है, इस बात का जवाब दें। तो ये कई ऐसे बिंदु हैं जिनसे जब आप उनसे केमिस्ट्री का सवाल पूछेंगे तो आपको हिस्ट्री बताएंगे। तो इसीलिए यही हाल है कि जो है इनके बच्चे ये बार बार अपने स्कूल में जाकर बोलते हैं कि आप पेपर में कुछ भी लिख कर आ जाना, उसको खाली मत छोड़ना। ऐसे भी हमने वीडियो देखे कि कुछ भी कोई कहानी लिख के आ जाना, पिक्चर की, शोले पिक्चर की कहानी लिख के आ जाना, खाली मत छोड़ के आना, आपको पास कर देंगे। तो वैसे ही ये दिल्ली की जनता को, देश की जनता को गुमराह कर रहे हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ಯಾವ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ಸಾರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ಯಾವ ಸಂದೇಶ?
ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂಥ, ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಅವರ ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆಗಳನ್ನ ಜನರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸುವಂಥ, ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸಿ ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದು. ಆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನ ಸೇರಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಸಿದ್ಧ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಹಕರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವರು.
ಯಾವ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಧರ್ಮ ದೇಶ ಯಾವುದು ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಬೇಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯಿಂದ ಮಾತನಾಡುವಂತ ವಿರೋಧ ಪಕ್ಷದ ನಾಯಕ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಾಜಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಮರೆತು ಈಗ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹಗುರವಾಗಿ ಮಾತನಾಡುವಂಥವ್ರು ಶೋಭೆ ತರುವಂತದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜನ ತಕ್ಕ ಪಾಠವನ್ನು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಕಾಲ ಬಹಳ ದೂರ ಇಲ್ಲ.
So BJP's mega Savarkar campaign in Karnataka, and there you see B.S. Yedurappa leading the campaign for lauding and says Savarkar was our nation's pride, and he was a hero loved across parties, that even Indira Gandhi had hailed Veer Savarkar. So this is the Savarkar Rath Yatra that B.S. Yedurappa is flagging off, and he initiates it with a loud statement for the greatness of Veer Savarkar, one of India's greatest freedom struggle heroes, and says, Niranjan joining us there. Niranjan, we are seeing the flagging off of the Savarkar Rath Yatra of the BJP mega campaign being launched here for Savarkar, one of our greatest freedom struggle heroes.
Yes, we're looking at the pictures coming in from Mysuru right now, and this is going to be one big campaign that the BJP is going to flag off. In fact, it's not being organized by the BJP, Rukma, but I can tell you that, Yedurappa right now in Mysuru, flagging off the Savarkar Rath Yatra, and we've been, bringing you stories. It all started on the 15th of August. In fact, much before that, with many groups opposing a poster of Veer Savarkar in the Independence Day celebrations. It started off with that, and then it snowballed into a political controversy with the right asking the Congress Party why they were questioning Savarkar, also asking the Congress Party why they were insulting Savarkar and giving ideological support to some of these parties that were backing Tipu Sultan posters instead of Veer Savarkar. And it's turned into a full-blown war now, because this poster war started as a poster war and then, snowballed into a political fight. We're looking at Veer Savarkar posters also being targeted in different parts of Karnataka. We have pictures from Vijaypura, earlier called Bijapur, where posters of Veer Savarkar were also burnt reportedly by some of these Congress workers. And it's turned out into a full-blown war, with the BJP now carrying out Veer Savarkar Yatra. Rather holding, it's not the BJP holding the Veer Savarkar Yatra. We'll just make a small correction. It's a group that's holding the Veer Savarkar Yatra, and Yedurappa is just flagging off the Yatra. Yedurappa is flagging off the Yatra, and these are the first pictures coming in. Right. I'm handing it back to you for now. As we keep a close track on that story.
So a Savarkar Rath Yatra begins, flagged off by BJP stalwart B.S. Yedurappa there. And we are getting you those visuals. Niranjan with us. We also have with us Nivedna from the Republic Studios here in New Delhi. Niranjan, Nivedna, it's over to you to take us through the significance of this. The BJP making a strong statement there through Yedurappa for Veer Savarkar.
That's right. Now, the Savarkar poster standoff we have been seeing in Karnataka for the past couple of days. The development now in terms of this is that the Veer Savarkar Foundation president had earlier stated that the reason that they're going to be doing this Rath Yatra, which is flagged off from Mysuru, is to ensure that people know about Savarkar, number one. They also said that the Rath Yatra would be flagged off in different places, including Mandya district, Chamarajnagar, as well as Hubli. He also stated that the final day of the Rath Yatra will conclude in Mysuru. However, he went on to give a few more details about the Rath Yatra, stating that on one hand, the Rath Yatra will include different elements like an LED display which will showcase Savarkar's pictures, important information about him, and videos pertaining to his life. In a way to kind of bring more information about Savarkar's life to the public. On the other hand, he also said that important speakers will be a part of this Rath Yatra who will be addressing the public as well, and there will also be books on the life of Savarkar, so that people can access it in case that they want to. This is the information about the Rath Yatra that the founder of this particular organization had earlier given a bite about. And on the other hand, of course, former Karnataka Chief Minister Yadurappa flagging off this Rath Yatra in Mysuru. Rukma.
Right, and when we talk about the statements he's made, many telling statements there, Nivedana. He's spoken about how Veer Savarkar was loved across parties, parties with different ideologies. He was loved across parties. He says about how Indira Gandhi had also hailed Veer Savarkar. Take us through some of the statements that he made, even as BSY flagged off that yatra.
Right. In that particular bite, Yadurappa was stating that this is, of course, important. Like you just mentioned, that Savarkar was appreciated by people across all political parties. But on the other hand, he stated that there is no scope for this issue that has been, created into a political fiasco. That should not be happening. And the Rath Yatra will only ensure that.
75वीं साल की सालगिरह मना रहे हैं और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी खुद लाल किले पे खड़े होकर कहते हैं कि हमें गर्व होना चाहिए कि भारत दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी लाल किले पे खड़े होकर ये कहते हैं कि भारत का संविधान बनाने वालों ने भारत को लोकतंत्र बनाया, हर नागरिक को लोकतांत्रिक अधिकार दिया। मैं आज प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को याद दिलाना चाहूंगी कि ये लोकतंत्र क्या होता है। लोकतंत्र में भारत की जनता को वोट देने का अधिकार मिला। लोकतंत्र में भारत की जनता को चुनने का अधिकार मिला कि वो किस पार्टी की सरकार, किस वादों की सरकार बनाना चाहते हैं। लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी का लोकतंत्र में भरोसा नहीं, या भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कह सकते हैं कि लोकतंत्र पर एक सिलेक्टिव भरोसा है। जब चुनाव होते हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी और सारी पार्टियां चुनाव के मैदान में उतरती हैं, कैंपेन करती हैं। जहां जहां भारतीय जनता पार्टी चुनाव जीत जाती है, वहां पर तो लोकतंत्र का फैसला, जनता का फैसला सरमाथे पर जहां जहां भारतीय जनता पार्टी चुनाव हार जाती है और किसी दूसरी पार्टी की सरकार बन जाती है, फिर वहां पे लोकतंत्र नहीं चलता। फिर वहां पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ऑपरेशन लोटस चलता है। क्या है भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ऑपरेशन लोटस? कि जिन जिन राज्यों में अगर किसी और पार्टी की सरकार बन जाए और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ना बने, तो साम दाम दंड भेद से उस पार्टी की सरकार को गिरा दिया जाए। फिर चाहे उसमें केंद्रीय जांच एजेंसीज को लगाना हो, चाहे सीबीआई और ईडी को लगाना हो, उनके द्वारा केस करवाने हो, चाहे दूसरी तरफ पैसे के ऑफर देने हो, बड़े बड़े पदों के ऑफर देने हो, मुख्यमंत्री के पद का ऑफर देना हो, किसी भी साम दाम दंड भेद से दूसरी किसी भी पार्टी की सरकार बन जाए तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी ये चक्रव्यूह बनाना शुरू कर देती है कि किस तरह से ऑपरेशन लोटस करके उस सरकार को गिराया जाए। और ये ऑपरेशन लोटस शब्द हमारा नहीं है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी गर्व करती है अपने ऑपरेशन लोटस पर कि चुनाव से क्या फर्क पड़ता है, लोकतंत्र से क्या फर्क पड़ता है। कोई भी पार्टी चुनाव जीत कर आए, हम तो आखिरकार उस पार्टी की सरकार को गिराकर अपनी सरकार बना ही लेंगे। ये सिलसिला कब से शुरू हुआ? ये सिलसिला 2014 से ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने शुरू कर। अरुणाचल प्रदेश से कांग्रेस के पेमा खांडू से शुरुआत हुई, जिन पे बड़े बड़े केस थे 2014 में। और जैसे ही उन्होंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज्वाइन की, सारे मुकदमे खत्म। 32 एमएलए को लेकर आए वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी में, और अरुणाचल प्रदेश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बन गई। गोवा में 2017 में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मेजॉरिटी नहीं थी, 40 में से सिर्फ और सिर्फ 13 सीटें आई थी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की। कांग्रेस सबसे बड़ी पार्टी थी, लेकिन फिर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने फिर से साम दाम दंड भेद से कांग्रेस के दूसरी पार्टियों के विधायकों को डरा के धमका के खरीद के अपनी सरकार बना दी। मणिपुर में 2017 में सिर्फ 60 में से 21 सीटें आई थी, वहां पर भी मणिपुर में ऑपरेशन लोटस किया गया और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बन गई। मेघालय में 2018 में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की 60 में से केवल 2 सीटें थी जब ऑपरेशन लोटस शुरू हुआ। और ऑपरेशन लोटस का नतीजा कि 60 में से 2 सीटें लाने वाली भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अपनी सरकार बना दी। ये लिस्ट चलती जाती है, इसमें मध्य प्रदेश, कर्नाटका, महाराष्ट्र, कई राज्य हैं जहां पर इसी प्रकार से ऑपरेशन लोटस किया। दिल्ली में भी इसी ऑपरेशन लोटस की कोशिश पिछले कुछ महीनों से चल रही है। इसी ऑपरेशन लोटस के तहत दिल्ली के डिप्टी सीएम मनीष सिसोदिया जी पे तरह तरह की शिकायतें, कभी स्कूल को लेके, कभी क्लासरूम को लेके, कभी एक्साइज पॉलिसी को लेके, कभी सीबीआई में दी जाती है, कभी एसीबी में दी जाती है, कभी दिल्ली पुलिस में दी जाती है। इन सब शिकायतों का कोई आधार नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी उस पर दिल्ली पुलिस की जांच बैठाई जाती है, सीबीआई की जांच बैठाई जाती है, इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट की जांच बैठाई जाती है। 14 घंटे तक दिल्ली के उप मुख्यमंत्री मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर पर रेड होती है, कुछ नहीं मिलता। ना पैसे मिलते हैं, ना सोने के बिस्किट मिलते हैं, ना जेवर मिलते हैं, ना बेनामी संपत्ति के कागजात मिलते हैं। लेकिन फिर भी अगले दिन ये खबर चल जाती है कि अब सीबीआई के बाद ईडी की रेड होने वाली है। इसी दौरान उप मुख्यमंत्री मनीष सिसोदिया जी को भारतीय जनता पार्टी से मैसेज आता है कि अगर सीबीआई और ईडी से बचना चाहते हो तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आ जाओ, सारे मुकदमे खत्म हो जाएंगे। उन्हें बोला जाता है कि आप पार्टी के नंबर 2 के नेता हो, आप अपने साथ अन्य विधायकों को लेके आ जाइए। क्या फर्क पड़ता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के केवल 7 विधायक हैं? उन्होंने तो मेघालय में ऑपरेशन लोटस में सिर्फ 2 विधायकों के साथ सरकार बना ली थी। तो वो मनीष सिसोदिया जी को कहते, आप पार्टी के नंबर 2 के नेता हो, आपकी भी इच्छा होती होगी कि मैं भी मुख्यमंत्री बनूं, तो आप अपने साथ विधायकों को लेकर आओ, आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी का मुख्यमंत्री का चेहरा बनो, हम आपको मुख्यमंत्री बनाएं। तो उन्होंने ये ऑफर दिया कि एक तरफ हम आपके सारे केसेस खत्म कर देंगे और दूसरा आपको दिल्ली का मुख्यमंत्री बना देंगे। अब भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ये जो ऑपरेशन लोटस है, ये अलग अलग राज्यों में क्यों सफल हो पाता है? क्योंकि वहां के भी जो नेता हैं, जो विधायक हैं, जो मंत्री हैं, उन सब ने अलग अलग तरीके से भ्रष्टाचार किया हुआ है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की केंद्रीय एजेंसियों से डरते हैं। उन्हें पता है कि सिर्फ एकमात्र तरीका है उन सब केसेस से बचने का, वो है भारतीय जनता पार्टी में चले जाना। इसकी तो पूरी पोल हर्षवर्धन पाटिल ने ही खोल दी थी, जो महाराष्ट्र के एमएलए हैं, जो कांग्रेस से भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आए, जिन्होंने कहा कि जब से कांग्रेस से भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आया हूं चैन की नींद सोता हूं, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि अब मेरे पे कोई इंक्वायरी नहीं होने वाली, कोई जांच नहीं होने वाली। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के विधायक ने खुद कहा। तो क्यों अलग अलग पार्टियों को भारतीय जनता पार्टी तोड़ पाती है? क्योंकि उनके नेताओं ने भी भ्रष्टाचार किया है और वो सीबीआई से, ईडी से, पुलिस से, इंटेलिजेंस सर्विसेज से, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट से डरते हैं। लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पता नहीं है कि जब वो मनीष सिसोदिया को ऑफर देने आते हैं तो मनीष सिसोदिया जी जैसा कट्टर ईमानदार नेता उन्हें किसी पार्टी में नहीं मिलेगा। ना सिर्फ वो कट्टर ईमानदार हैं, वो कट्टर देशभक्त हैं। और उन्होंने खुद भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेताओं को कहा कि मैं तुम्हारी धमकियों से डरने वाला नहीं हूं। आज तो तुमने सीबीआई भेजी है, कल ईडी भेज दो, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट भेज दो, दिल्ली पुलिस भेज दो, तुम्हें एक पैसे का भ्रष्टाचार नहीं मिलेगा। और मैं आखिरी सांस तक अरविंद केजरीवाल के साथ खड़ा हूं और खड़ा रहूंगा, क्योंकि मेरा मकसद मुख्यमंत्री बनना नहीं है। मेरा मकसद इस देश को नंबर 1 बनाना है और इसलिए मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल के साथ खड़ा हूं। आज ये हमारे देश के लिए कितने दुख की बात है कि आज दुनिया की हर इंटरनेशनल रैंकिंग में भारत हर चीज में पीछे रहता जा रहा। एक ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स की रिपोर्ट आती है जिसमें पूरी दुनिया भर के देशों की रैंकिंग होती है। 160 देशों में से भारत 131वें नंबर पे आता है।
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
In US, a body found in Northern California reservoir is believed to be that of a 16-year-old Kelly Rodney, who went missing weeks ago after attending a party at a Sierra Nevada campground in the United States.
Still an active investigation, and I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. And again, it is still a very active investigation.
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander
प्रधानमंत्री जी इस देश के युवाओं के बारे में सोचिए, इस देश की महिलाओं के बारे में सोचिए, इस देश के बच्चों के बारे में सोचिए, इस देश के नागरिकों के बारे में सोचिए। आज वो आपसे समाधान की उम्मीद कर रहे हैं और आप बैठ के दूसरी सरकारों के खिलाफ षड्यंत्र रच रहे हैं। क्या आपको लगता है कि जिस राज्य में आपकी सरकार नहीं जीती वहां पे हमें ऑपरेशन लोटस करके सरकार को गिराना है? कि जैसे मध्य प्रदेश में गिरा दी, अरुणाचल में गिरा दी, गोवा में गिरा दी, मेघालय में गिरा दी, कर्नाटका में गिरा दी, मध्य प्रदेश में गिरा दी, अब हम दिल्ली में भी गिराना चाहते हैं? मेरा प्रधानमंत्री जी से आग्रह है, ये देश हम सबका है। आज आज दिल्ली में हम अच्छे सरकारी स्कूल, अच्छे सरकारी अस्पताल, युवाओं को रोजगार, महिलाओं को बस की यात्रा, पूरी दिल्ली में सीसीटीवी कैमरा दे पा रहे हैं, तो आप दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री, उप मुख्यमंत्री को बुलाइए, उनके साथ बैठिए कि जैसे आपने दिल्ली में समस्याओं का समाधान किया है, वो भी सरकार को मुनाफे में रखते हुए तो हम और राज्यों में कैसे कर सकते हैं, हम पूरे देश में कैसे कर सकते हैं?
Unidentified persons allegedly stole 10 ancient idols from a temple in Maharashtra's Jalna district. 700 years old ancient idols remain missing from Jamb Samarth temple. Meanwhile, NCP leader Rajesh Tope urged the management to inquire about the matter.
आज पहाटे जे रामदास स्वामी त्या ठिकाणी रामाचं, लक्ष्मणाचं, हनुमानाच्या ज्या पूजा करायच्या ॲक्च्युली मूर्तींच्या, पंचधातूच्या मूर्ती, ते पहाटे 3 वाजता काही अज्ञात चोरट्यांनी कम्प्लिटली या सगळ्या 700 वर्ष पूर्वीच्या ह्या सगळ्या मूर्त्या चोरलेल्या आहेत. म्हणून मला एवढंच म्हणायचं, महाराष्ट्रभरातून लोक तिथे दर्शनाला येतात, मुंबईतून जातात, सगळीकडून जातात, आणि त्यामुळे या संदर्भातलं आपण गांभीर्याने नोंद घेऊन कळवावं असं मला वाटतं.
Following a missing complaint, police has been examining CCTV footage from the temple to identify the suspects. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And here's a look at some other news. The BJP has hit out at the Congress leader Siddaramaiah for allegedly visiting a temple after eating non-vegetarian food. In response to the scandal, Siddaramaiah has said that the BJP is an expert at lighting fires when there is peace. Former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray expelled Minister Uday Samant and senior leader Yashwant Yadav from the Sena party today. Now both the ministers have joined the Chief Minister Shinde's camp. Shocking visuals on your screen show an assault on a school teacher in Goa. A complaint has been registered against the PWD engineer Altaf Sheikh for allegedly assaulting a school teacher. Meanwhile, the police is investigating the matter.
In US, a body found in Northern California reservoir is believed to be that of a 16-year-old Kelly Rodney, who went missing weeks ago after attending a party at a Sierra Nevada campground in the United States.
Still an active investigation, and I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. And again, it is still a very active investigation.
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander Vulin in Moscow. Both the leaders discussed the situation in Kosovo. Lavrov also assured Vulin that Russia's position on the sanctions. Top headlines at 1 p.m. after Congress Savarkar insult, BJP makes Savarkar #1 issue. Mega Savarkar Rath Yatra today. Bilkis Bano case in the top court. Supreme Court agrees to hear PIL challenging remission of killers. Freebies face-off hearing in the top court. SG says in Supreme Court it has serious impacts on exchequer. BJP MLA Raja Singh booked for controversial remarks after late-night protest. JNU VC Stokes Rao says no Hindu god was a Brahmin. Liquor Gate showdown now in Telangana. BJP chief Bandi Sanjay arrested. Tamil Nadu Minister Sparks Rao compares Modi government to British rule at the Oxford. thank you for tuning in this afternoon. We are live and breaking. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Lots lined up for you in this edition of our broadcast as well. Straight away, starting with breaking news coming in. This one from the house. And news coming in of the protests which are taking place, the protest which is being staged by the students in Patna. This of course comes a day after we saw the incident which came to light where a protester was thrashed brutally, and in fact an inquiry that has also been ordered by the Deputy Chief Minister himself. Prakash is joining us live from Patna. Prakash, if you could get us the latest details that you're picking up.
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं शिक्षक अभ्यर्थी। इन्होंने मांगी थी नौकरी लेकिन इन्हें मिली लाठियां, और कई लड़कों को तो यहां लाठी से इतना मारा गया कि देखिए जख्म के निशान हैं। और एडीएम के सिंह ने जिस बर्बरतापूर्ण काम किया, अब उन पर कार्रवाई की मांग कर रहे हैं ये लोग। और ये सारे अभ्यर्थी जो हैं पिछले 4 साल से सारे एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट पास कर चुके हैं। सरकार जो है वैकेंसी नहीं निकाल रही है, लगातार इन्हें आश्वासन पर आश्वासन दिया जा रहा है सरकार की तरफ से भी और विपक्ष ने भी। तेजस्वी यादव, तमाम आरजेडी के नेता इनके पास आए। अब तो तेजस्वी यादव सरकार में आ गए। हम जानना चाहेंगे इनसे कि क्या इन लोगों की मांगे हैं। ये बताइए कि कल क्या क्या घटना हुई, आपके पीठ पे देख रहे हैं निशान।
हम लोग विगत 22 दिन से आंदोलन कर रहे थे। कल हम लोग 22वां दिन था, आज 23वां दिन है। 22 दिन से आंदोलन कर रहे थे। हम लोग आंदोलन करते हुए सर गांधी मैदान से डाक बंगला चौराहा जा रहे थे। हम लोग ज्ञापन देना चाह रहे थे राज्यपाल महोदय के, लेकिन हम लोग को डाक बंगला पे रोक दिया गया और ऐसा लाठीचार्ज किया गया एडीएम के द्वारा। सर देखिए सर, फोड़ दिया गया, पूरा शरीर फोड़ दिया गया सर। हम लोग को ऐसे मारा गया है, लग रहा है आतंकवादी है सर। हम लोग भावी शिक्षक हैं सर। हम लोग रोड पर आंदोलन कर रहे हैं। के सिंह के खिलाफ राजद्रोह का मामला बनता है, क्योंकि झंडा पे वार किया जा रहा था। उनको इतना भी सरकार क्या आश्वासन दे रही थी?
हम लोग को कोई आश्वासन मिला था सर, लिखित रूप में आश्वासन मिलकर विगत 4 सालों से सिर्फ आश्वासन मिला सर। एक बार हम लोग का अपर मुख्य सचिव ये लिखित रूप से आश्वासन पिछले बार 25 दिनों के आंदोलन के बाद दिए थे, मगर वो आश्वासन भी वो फिर मुकर गए और आज तक हम लोग का शेड्यूल जारी नहीं हुआ है सर। और इस बार भी फिर अभी माननीय तेजस्वी प्रसाद यादव जी भी कल आश्वासन नहीं दे रहे सर। हम लोग को आश्वासन नहीं चाहिए। अविलंब प्राथमिक विज्ञप्ति, 7वीं चरण प्राथमिक विज्ञप्ति अविलंब शेड्यूल जारी किया जाए और के सिंह को बर्खास्त किया जाए। यही 2 मांग हम लोग का है सर।
तेजस्वी यादव के पार्टी के जो नेता हैं वो तो अब शिक्षा मंत्री बन गए। तेजस्वी यादव आप लोग से मिलने आए थे, क्या आश्वासन दिया?
मिलने नहीं आए थे सर। हम लोग लगातार 22 दिन से आंदोलन कर रहे हैं। जब सत्ता में नहीं थी, तेजस्वी यादव जी नहीं थे, उनके पार्टी थी, उनके प्रवक्ता आते थे, उनके नेता आते थे, बोलते थे कि हम यदि सत्ता में रहते तो हम कल का नोटिफिकेशन दे देते। अब सत्ता में आ गए हैं, वो बोल रहे हैं कि 6 महीना तो लगेगा, 6 महीना लगेगा, आपको इंतजार 6 महीना करना चाहिए सर। 4 साल से हम लोग इंतजार कर रहे हैं। और नियुक्ति के लिए, विज्ञप्ति के लिए जो सबसे बड़ी बात होती है, रिक्ति का रोस्टर और नियमावली, ये तीनों बन के तैयार है सर। रिक्ति भी तैयार है, रोस्टर भी तैयार है और नियमावली भी बन के तैयार है, लेकिन विज्ञप्ति नहीं दे रहे हैं। इसलिए नहीं।
कितना वैकेंसी खाली है? कितना
वैकेंसी खाली है प्राइमरी में सर, 6 to 8 में सर।
सब कुछ फाइनल है, सब कुछ फाइनल है। नीतीश कुमार की ये चाल है कि सरकार जब बदली तो जानबूझकर शिक्षा मंत्री को चेंज किया गया है, ये बताने के लिए कि सरकार मेरी अभी अभी बनी है।
भाई तो अब तेजस्वी यादव उप मुख्यमंत्री हैं तो और शिक्षा मंत्री उन्हीं के पार्टी के हैं, तो उनसे क्या मांग कर रहे हैं आप?
उनसे मांग यही है कि अविलंब हम लोग का नोटिफिकेशन जारी किया जाए।
भरोसा है तेजस्वी पे?
भरोसा नहीं है, इसलिए तो हम लोग सड़क पर उतर रहे हैं।
वो भरोसा नहीं हो तो अभी नई सरकार आई है, आपको क्यों भरोसा नहीं?
भरोसा इसलिए नहीं है कि लिखित
भरोसा चाहिए सर, मुंह से आश्वासन नहीं चाहिए।
वो तो बोल रहे हैं कि अभी धैर्य रखिए, हम लोग करेंगे।
धैर्य रखने की एक सीमा होती है सर। 4 साल से हम लोग धैर्य रख रहे हैं। 2019 में उसी की सरकार थी, उसी के कारण छठा चरण अभी तक लेट और फिर उसी का सरकार बना।
धैर्य का फल यही मिलता है।
माननीय तेजस्वी जी बोल रहे थे कि हमारी सरकार रहती तो हम 2 दिन में नोटिफिकेशन देते, लेकिन उनकी सरकार बनी 10 दिन हो गए। 4 साल में नोटिफिकेशन नहीं आ सकता है
सर। लिखित आश्वासन मिलना चाहिए।
हम लोग सपोर्ट करती है कि तुम लोग रोड पे आओ, ये सरकार की नाकामी है। वो हम लोग को जबरदस्ती बोलता है तुम लोग रोड पे आओ। आप लोग क्या करेंगे? हम लोग
सर लाठीचार्ज की हम लोग बर्बरता के एडीएम जी ने मारी है।
पुलिस ने चाहिए सर।
5 सितंबर तक अल्टीमेटम दिया जाता है। सरकार को 5 सितंबर तक अल्टीमेटम है कि अगर हम लोग का प्राइमरी का अगर 7वीं चरण का
वैकेंसी नहीं निकलेगा तो हम पूरे बिहार में हम लोग उग्र प्रदर्शन करेंगे। इसलिए 5 सितंबर तक अल्टीमेटम सरकार।
कल तो तेजस्वी यादव ने डीएम से बात किया और उन्होंने कहा कि धैर्य रखिए आप लोग।
हम लोगों का धैर्य 4 साल हो गया। हम लोगों को नोटिफिकेशन और विलंब चाहिए और कोई हमको हम धैर्य नहीं रख सकते हैं।
तेजस्वी यादव जी तो अपने आप बोले थे पहले कलम से हम नौकरी देंगे, नौकरी देने का काम करेंगे, लेकिन अभी तक कोई नौकरी कलम कहाँ पता नहीं है।
सबसे पहले शिक्षक नौकरी देने की बात कही थी।
Well, on to more breaking news coming in. This one in relation to the Rampur heart case, where we understand that the CBI has arrested 7 people in connection with the Rampur heart case. We are told that the CBI team, remember, is probing into the death of 8 villagers who were the victims of the alleged reprisals that followed the murder of TMC Panchayat level leader. We have a senior editor, Shavan, also joining us. Shavan, if you could give us more details. We understand CBI has made fresh arrests, 7 people who've been arrested in connection with the Rampur heart case.
Well, in fact, the latest details that we are picking up is that these are fresh arrests that have been made by the TRS investigation in the Rampur violence case. In fact, we've also got the list of 7 people who have been arrested, and they are likely to be profiled from now will be produced before the court. We've been told that Nur Ali, Andhra, Bikir Ali, Khairul Sheikh, Jamirul Sheikh, and Sheikh Joseph. These are the 7 people who have been arrested in the Bandi murder case. They are going to be produced in the court. The court in Bengal is what we have been saying right now. In fact, remember, there have been multiple eyewitnesses in this particular case. These statements have also been recorded, the massive violence that actually took place. And one of the eyewitnesses has essentially said that they were secretly behind it. This was deliberately done by a section. That is exactly what the Country Bureau of Investigation is looking at. Whether at all this is a case of a criminal conspiracy is something that the CBI is essentially looking at.
Shavan, just a follow-up question before we let you go. We understand that some TMC netas were also under scanner when we talk about this whole Birbhum violence case. If you could put this into context for us and give us some backdrop as well into this case.
Well, in fact, it was on the evening of 21st of March around 8:30 evening when Gauri Sheikh, who's the Deputy General in Dakshal Gram Panchayat, and he's also considered to be an influential leader of the ruling Trinamool Congress, was killed in a bomb attack at Basti in the village in Rampur region. Now, within just about an hour of the murder, followers and associates have basically rampaged through the area, setting fire to the several houses. Now, in the FIR that has been registered, the CBI has basically said that as a retaliation of the incident of murder of Gauri Sheikh, a mob of about 70 people led by 20 persons set fire to the houses with a view to kill the persons inside and their family inmates. At that very speech, remember the West Bengal BJP had said the violence and death were due to a deep-rooted personal enmity and were definitely not political murders. Now that's what the West Bengal police had essentially indicated. But the CBI in its FIR that is registered has basically indicated that this is a retaliation of the incident of the murder of Gauri Sheikh. A mob of 70 to 80 people led by 20 persons set fire to the houses with a view to kill the persons. Now that's what the CBI has indicated. Now it remains to be seen the 7 people who have been arrested, whether at all there is any connection with any particular political party. That is something that we do not have a confirmation as yet.
Okay. All right, Shavan, we leave it at that. Thank you for getting us all those details. On to more breaking news coming in now. This one with regard to the Shinde versus Uddhav matter, which is in the Supreme Court. More details that are now coming in. The breaking news that the SC has referred to a 5-judge bench on constitutional questions arising from the rebellion in Shiv Sena leading to the fall of the Mahavikas Aghadi government on application of 10th schedule, powers and duties of speaker on dealing with disqualification petitions, power of the governor. We understand that the matter has been listed for Thursday. Well, we'll go across to our reporters as well to get us more details, but what we understand is that the Supreme Court has referred to 5-judge bench the constitutional questions arising from the rebellion within the Shiv Sena, which led to the fall of the Mahavikas Aghadi government. And we have our executive editor Rhythm also joining us. Rhythm, if you could give us more details. We understand that the matter has now been listed for Thursday.
Yes, absolutely. This case is now coming before a constitution bench, which means a 5-judge bench is now going to hear this matter. It's being referred by the Chief Justice's bench. What are they going to hear is extremely crucial. This is going to be regarding all the matters that the Maharashtra crisis has brought about. But most importantly, they will be deciding whether the election commission should go on with Shinde's faction claim to be the original party to control the bow and arrow symbol, or is it now going to be controlled by the Eknath Shinde camp? So this is the Supreme Court has asked the Election Commission not to pass any orders till Thursday. On Thursday, they're going to decide not only on the symbol and who's going to use it, but also the application of the 10th schedule, the powers and duties of the Speaker on dealing with disqualification, the powers of the Governor. So all the disputes between the actions, so as to say, are now going to be looked at before a 5-judge constitution bench. Why this is done? The constitution bench is of 5 Supreme Court judges. Bench of the Supreme Court. Being due notes to this, the Supreme Court has said that these petitions and whether the EP symbol shall go to the Buddhist camp or the Eknath Shinde camp will be decided very soon, but the hearing will begin on Thursday in the Supreme Court.
All right, Rhythm, thank you for getting us all those details. So all eyes on the SC hearing, which will take place on Thursday. The Supreme Court, remember, as Rhythm was telling us, has referred to the to a 5-judge bench the constitutional questions that are arising with regard to the rebellion, which led to the fall of the Mahavikas Aghadi government in the state of Maharashtra, which led to the formation of a new government with Shinde as the Chief Minister and Fadnavis as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. So the case that is now listed for Thursday, the Supreme Court will be hearing the matter on Thursday. SC has said that the constitutional bench will decide whether the EC should go on with Shinde faction's claim to be the original party to control the bow and arrow symbol. So it's a battle for legacy as well as we speak that has erupted between the two factions, between Shinde-led faction and the Uddhav-led faction. Well, back-to-back breaking news coming in. This one from Telangana, where we are told that the IT raids are underway in Hyderabad. This is the Phoenix group, which is now under the radar of the IT officials. What we understand right now is the raids are being conducted by the IT officials at 20 places. Now, this is related to the Phoenix group in Hyderabad. We'll go across to Anedi to get us more details, who's reporting live from the city and will tell us more about these IT raids which are underway as we speak. The raids which are underway at 20 locations in Hyderabad, which is linked to the Phoenix group. So the Phoenix group that is now under the scanner of the IT sleuths. And Aneri, who's getting us these details right now, the IT raids which are underway at 20 locations in Hyderabad. It's the Phoenix group in Hyderabad which is under the scanner of the IT officials. More details are awaited, but these are some of the details trickling in at this point with regard to the raids which are underway in Hyderabad. Aneri is joining us live. Aneri, if you could give us more details. Well, we seem to have lost that connection with Aneri, but those are in fact the visuals as well coming in right now. The first visuals of the IT raids which are underway at around at least 20 locations in Hyderabad. Now these raids are in connection with a case that is linked to the Phoenix group. And Shravan is also joining us for more details. Shravan, if you could give us more details on these raids which are underway.
Well, in fact, the latest details found that we are picking up is that the Income Tax Department is carrying out searches on the prominent real estate group Phoenix Infrastructure in Hyderabad. In fact, Sukapalli, Avinash and others who run the group are interested of real estate projects in the city. What the Income Tax Department is currently looking at is the suspected income tax evasion by the real estate firm. They have basically carried out the searches of the offices of Phoenix groups and the residences of the directors. They were carried out at multiple locations like Jubilee Hill, Musapet, Madhapur and other offices and residences. They've also taken the help of paramilitary forces when they were carrying out the searches. In fact, the Phoenix Ventures, we've been told, is located at Gachibowli, Jubilee Hills, Nagar and Shamsabad. That's the latest that we're getting in right now. My colleague Anili is also reporting, suggesting that raids are being carried out at around 20 locations. Samiksha, at this point in time, that's all information that we have. We'll be tracking the story very closely.
All right. Well, Shravan, thank you for getting us those details. So, Shravan, getting us those details with regard to the IT raids, which are underway as we speak at 20 locations, beg your pardon. And the Phoenix group, we are told, in Hyderabad, which is under the scan. And let's get you a quick wrap of all that's making news from across the country. Amid mega face-off between the BJP and the TRS, BJP Telangana chief Bandi Sanjay has now been arrested. The arrest of Bandi Sanjay comes at the time when he was about to protest against the arrest of BJP workers who tried to stage protest at Chief Minister KCR's residence of his daughter, beg your pardon, K. Kavita. BJP chief had also raised questions pertaining to the role of TRS in the liquor scam and demanded question answers from the Telangana Chief Minister. After Congress insulted Savarkar, BJP has now made Savarkar #1 issue. BJP MLA Renuka Charya has started Savarkar Portraits campaign in Karnataka's Pune district. Row over Ganesh celebration at Eidgah Maidan, Pramod Muthalek has launched controversial signature campaign. Meanwhile, reacting over the row, KPCC President DK Shivakumar said that the government will act accordingly and take appropriate action. And a news coming in from Kerala, where a young man and a woman were arrested in the case of selling drugs at a lodge. The two have been identified as Akshay Saji and Yunus, who hail from Kerala. The police has seized 6.6 grams of MDMA. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear PIL challenging the remission of Bilkis Bano case. A bench asked the council whether the release of Bilkis Bano's convicts was on the basis of an SC order. Meanwhile, SC said that it will register the matter on an appropriate bench. SC hearing a plea of Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar and his wife has ordered to shift Sukesh from the Tihar jail to the Mandoli jail. In its order, SC has stated that the jail officials were being used for passing documents and other illicit business. An army chopper had to make an emergency landing in Rajasthan's Hanumangarh district. The helicopter landed at a field in a village Dholipal. 5 army personnel were present in the chopper when it made the emergency landing. Breaking news coming in, this one in relation to the protest which is being staged by the Congress workers in Ludhiana. Amandeep is reporting live from that very spot where the protest is taking place. Amandeep, over to you. Give us more details on these protests which are being staged by the Congress workers.
Well, Samiksha, large number of Congress workers have gathered here outside the Vigilance Office in Ludhiana after the arrest of former Congress Minister Bharat Bhushan Ashu, and in fact all the Congress workers are claiming it is a political vendetta and quoting that Minister Ashu has no role in the corruption case of food grain scam. And in fact, slowly, gradually, all the Congress senior leadership are also visiting at this spot just because almost around 2 p.m. Bharat Bhushan Ashu will be produced before the court and vigilance will seek the remand. It is the case of food grain transportation scam, and in fact the role of former minister Bharat Bhushan Ashu has been cropped up after the interrogation of personal assistants of Bharat Bhushan Ashu, and in fact after that the Congress came out on the roads, hitting out on the roads against the Aam Aadmi Party government, claiming it as a political vendetta, and in fact they are continuously protesting. Since yesterday a high voltage drama was being witnessed during the arrest of Bharat Bhushan Ashu, when Congress MP Ravneet Singh Bittu questioned the vigilance officials. From then till now, the Congress party is hitting out on the roads against the Aam Aadmi Party government after the arrest of former minister, and in fact they are demanding that justice should be delivered. No political vendetta is being deserved or tolerated by the Congress party. You can see these are the visuals outside the vigilance office in Ludhiana, where also the heavy security has also been deployed by the Punjab police to maintain the law and order situation. The road has been completely closed and traffic has been diverted just because one after another Congress workers are gathering since morning, and in fact they have protested here since morning against the arrest of former minister Bharat Bhushan Ashu, and even now the senior Congress leadership is also started visiting here to gather the protesters and to address the protesters, just because since tomorrow Congress is continuously protesting against the cases that has been registered by the Aam Aadmi Party against the Congress leaders through vigilance department. They are saying that Aam Aadmi Party is completely doing a political vendetta and targeting their former ministers, and that is the reason the Congress is now coming out on the roads, speaking all open against the Aam Aadmi Party government and also questioning the investigation done by the vigilance department. And Samiksha, this is not the first minister. This is the fourth or fifth Congress leader that was being questioned or arrested by the vigilance department after Aam Aadmi Party government came into the power in Punjab. And in fact, that is the reason Congress is continuously alleging that Aam Aadmi Party is doing a complete political vendetta. This is a political vengeance that they are coming up, and in fact, unnecessarily they're dragging their ministers and the leaders into the certain corruption cases just to erode the political line of the Congress party in Punjab, and even that is the reason. But vigilance department claiming that the investigation is being done in a very fair manner, and in fact Bharat Bhushan Ashu's name was cropped up in the interrogation of his personal assistant Meenu Malhotra, and he quoted his name, and in fact it was a clear-cut allegation that on the behest of Bharat Bhushan Ashu, PA demanded the bribe of 20 lakhs in the scam of...
Amani, we'll have to leave it at there. The AIMIM chief OAC is addressing the press conference. Let's listen into what he has to say.
इस पर अब आप क्या कहेंगे? आपकी ऑफिशियल पॉलिसी बन चुकी है मुसलमानों को और भारत की प्लुरलिज्म को, भारत की डाइवर्सिटी को बर्बाद करना। भाजपा को कोई फिक्र नहीं है भारत की सोशल फैब्रिक की, तो उसको चुकनाचूर और तार-तार करना चाहते हैं। तो ये सिलसिला चल रहा है। मैं शुक्रगुजार हूं कि तेलंगाना की सरकार ने फौरन केस रजिस्टर करके उस विधायक की गिरफ्तारी अमल में आई। मैं ये चाहता हूं कि उनका वॉइस रिकॉर्डिंग भी किए जाए और एफएसएल को उनका वॉइस रिकॉर्डिंग भिजाना चाहिए और किस क्रिमिनल केस को मजबूत बनाना चाहिए। सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ खानापुरी करने के लिए उनको अरेस्ट कर लिया जाए, बल्कि ये जो अनाप शनाप गंदगी उन्होंने प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में अब बोली है, ये हैदराबाद नहीं बल्कि पूरे तेलंगाना का हर सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी इसका कंडेम कर रहा है। पॉलिटिकल आपको अगर आप जंग लड़ना है लड़िए, मगर ये आप नफरत मुसलमानों से प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में क्यों ये बक रहे हैं? आज़ादी का अमृत उत्सव हम सब मना रहे हैं। देश के प्रधानमंत्री लाल किले से खड़े होकर बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं और उन्हीं का विधायक इस तरह की गंदगी बकता है। हम पूछना चाहते हैं देश के प्रधानमंत्री से कि क्या आप इनकी इस गंदगी, इनकी वाहियात बयान से आप एग्री करते हैं? अगर आप एग्री नहीं करते तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री उनकी पार्टी को रिएक्ट करना चाहिए, रिएक्ट करना चाहिए उनको। क्या मैंने कोई चीज़ बाकी नहीं रखी? जो नुपुर शर्मा ने जो गंदगी बकी थी ऑन लाइव, उससे और बढ़कर एक विधायक ने इस तरह की बकवास कर दी। तो मैं इसका कंडेम करता हूं और मैं तेलंगाना की आवाम को ये पैगाम देना चाह रहा हूँ कि भाजपा तेलंगाना में अमन को ख़राब करना चाहती है, भाजपा हैदराबाद के अमन को ख़राब करना चाहती है, यहाँ पर भाजपा कम्युनल राइट कराना चाहती है, यहाँ पर भाजपा तेलंगाना की तरक्की, हैदराबाद का जो इन्वेस्टमेंट ग्रोथ है उसको रोकना चाहती है और अपनी सियासी रोटी सेकने के लिए वो मुसलमानों को और प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में अपने विधायक से इस तरह की गंदगी और बकवास बकवा रहे हैं। इनको रोकना चाहिए। ये देश सबका है और आप इसको खराब करना चाह रहे हैं, हम इसको कंडेम करते हैं। मैं जो नारे लगे मैं उसका कंडेम करता हूं। आपकी लड़ाई हमारी लड़ाई कानून के दायरे में रहकर होगी। जो नारे लगा रहे हैं मैं उससे मुत्तफिक नहीं हूं, मैं उसको कंडेम करता हूं। और जो नारे लगा रहे हैं मैं उनको भी कहना चाह रहा हूं, आप कानून को अपने हाथ में नहीं ले सकते। कानून के हाथ में कैसा लेंगे आप अपने हाथ में? हमने कंप्लेन की रात में, कल सुबह में 2:30 बजे हमारे एमएलए अहमद बलाला जाकर कंप्लेन किए और जब बलाला साहब कंप्लेन किए तो उनके साथ हिंदू भाई भी थे, दलित भाई भी थे। कंप्लेन किए, एफआईआर रजिस्टर हुआ। इस तरह की बकवास नारे अरे मत करिए। इस तरह क्यों लगा रहे हैं आप?
सर, आप हैदराबाद शहर के सांसद हैं, यहाँ की आवाम गुस्से में है, वो रात को दिखा कि आवाम गुस्से में है। आप सांसद हैं, आप क्या अपील करते हैं? क्या ये एश्योर करते हैं बतौर सांसद की कोई
देखिए मैं शहर का सांसद भी हूँ और इस शहर का शहरी भी हूँ। सिर्फ मेरी अकेले की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, बल्कि हर नागरिक की, हर राजनेता की, हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो तेलंगाना और हैदराबाद के अमन को ख़राब ना करें। और कौन ख़राब कर रहा है? भाजपा ख़राब कर रही है। क्या ये ऑफिशियल पॉलिसी बन चुकी है कि नुपुर शर्मा से उनका दिल नहीं भरा तो अभी अपने विधायक से बोलने लगा रहे हैं? हम जानते हैं कि रात भर कितना मुश्किलात का सामना हमारे पूरे पार्टी के जिम्मेदारों को करना पड़ा, कितना गम और गुस्सा लोगों में है। हर आदमी आज उसके आंख में आंसू है कि भाई आखिर भाजपा को अगर अपनी सियासी रोटी सेकना था तो प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में ये गंदगी क्यों बक रहे हैं? और आप लोगों को दिल आज़ारी कर रहे हैं, लोगों को तकलीफ पहुंचा रहे हैं। ये भाजपा, भारतीय जनता पार्टी और आरएसएस क्यों कर रही है ये? आप पॉलिटिकल फाइट लड़िए, हमसे लड़िए, टीआरएस से लड़िए, कांग्रेस से करिए, मगर तेलंगाना में और हैदराबाद को बर्बाद क्यों करना चाहते हैं आप? क्यों आप रोकना चाह रहे हैं? आप देख रहे हैं कि पूरे भारत में बेरोजगारी नौजवानों को मुखद्दर बन गया, महंगाई आसमानों को छू रही है और आप इन तमाम हरकतों को कर रहे हैं। अमन को बिगाड़ना चाहते हैं, आप कम्युनल राइट कराना चाहते हैं हैदराबाद में, लोगों के दिलों को तोड़ना चाहते हैं आप, तकलीफ देकर। आप
क्या डिमांड करते हैं सर? आप कौन सी डिमांड?
नहीं, हमारा डिमांड एक ही है कि भाजपा इस तरह की हरकतें करना छोड़ दें। देश की जनता देख रही है कि आप कैसे एक समुदाय के खिलाफ और प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के खिलाफ आप कितनी नफरत करते हैं। वहां पर गल्फ कंट्रीज में जब ये बात उठी तो भाजपा हरकत में, अब इस पर क्या करेंगे आप? भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ऑफिशियल पॉलिसी बन चुकी है कि प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में बकवास बकी जाए, गंदगी बकी जाए, माने गंदी जबान, और फिर अमन को बिगाड़ दिया जाए। तेलंगाना की आवाम, देश की आवाम देख रही है और जनता इनको जमहूरी तरीके से एक मुंह तोड़ जवाब देगी। आप देखना, हैदराबाद में कोई इस चीज को पसंद नहीं कर।
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander Vulin in Moscow. Both the leaders discussed the situation in Kosovo. Lavrov also assured Vulin that Russia's position on the sanctions remains same. This comes after the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovo leaders earlier this week in Brussels.
In the latest development in Pahalgam accident, an ITBP Jawan has succumbed to his injuries, taking the total death toll to 8. Meanwhile, more than 30 Jawans are being treated in different hospitals in Jammu and Kashmir. Reacting to yesterday's protest in Bihar, where police were seen charging with lathis on protesters, the BJP leader Naval Kishore Yadav has said that the entire incident is unfortunate. He further added that our national flag was also insulted.
आंख के सामने स्क्रीन पर जिस तरह से उस बच्चे को मारा जा रहा है, और लोकतंत्र में मारने का कहाँ जगह है। लंबी लंबी बात करते हैं, कभी चाचा कहते हैं, 20 लाख भतीजा कहते हैं, 10 लाख नौकरी देंगे, अदला अदली बोल रहे हैं।
The JNU Vice Chancellor Spakta Rao saying anthropologically gods do not belong to the upper caste and that gods could be from the scheduled caste or tribe. She also said an I quote, status of Shudras given to women in Manu Smriti makes it extraordinarily regressive.
No god is a Brahmin. The highest is a Kshatriya. Lord Shiva must be a scheduled caste or
दिल्ली में है, आपके पास 300 एमपी, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप प्रॉफेट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में इस तरह के आपका विधायक अनाप शनाप बके। आप तो नूपुर शर्मा से आप तो सबक ही हासिल नहीं किए। आप जो इसका मतलब है कि आपने ड्रामा किया। उस वक्त भी कहा था आपसे।
Sir, this looks like more an ego issue between the BJP.
No, it
and
is
TRS.
not. It is not.
And also, sir, he has been arrested. What is your final demand? Matlab, he should be given. He should be arrested, and he has been sent to the. Might be happened.
One
thing, sir. Will you demand anything from the BJP? That, or else will you are you going to fight legally? What are you going to do?
See, to tell you what I have just said in English. The statement made by a BJP MLA from Hyderabad, wherein I cannot even repeat the nonsense and the derogatory language he has used against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is the official policy of Bharatiya Janata Party to ensure that Muslims are always tortured emotionally, mentally, by allowing their party members to talk in such low language, which we call a sadak chhap language, about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is a deliberate attempt by BJP, and they have allowed their MLA to speak in this language. They have not learned a lesson from what Nupur Sharma had said. This is continuation of what Nupur Sharma had said. This is continuation of hatred for Muslims. This is a continuation of hatred for Islam and to ensure that minorities are always threatened. Muslim minorities are made to feel insecure. I have repeatedly said, let us fight politically, but please do not go down to the level of using such low language, such derogatory language against our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. What is the message BJP is sending to the whole country, to the people of Telangana, to the people of Hyderabad, to the people of the world? Why hasn't BJP learned from what Nupur Sharma said? Because now it has become an official policy of Bharatiya Janata Party to hurt Muslims, to ensure that they always, come out on street and do something. Why isn't the BJP able to feel pride in the peace which is prevailing in Hyderabad and in Telangana? Why is BJP jealous of Hyderabad becoming the major investment destination center? Why is BJP threatened and feel jealous when Hyderabad grows, when Telangana grows? Why doesn't BJP accept that there is no power problem in Telangana? You fight your political war. Your leaders have started a Padyatra, but this is not the way to create differences among the people. This is not the way to hurt people. If you have the guts, take us on politically. We are ready to take on politically. You take on KCR, you take on OVC, we are ready for it. But you have allowed your spokesperson and your MLA to ensure that they keep on using derogatory language against Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can BJP understand the message which has been gone? From 12:30 in the morning to morning 6:30, every MI member was on the road trying to control people, trying to ensure that no untoward incident takes place. Why? Because we are interested in peace. I am thankful that the Telangana government has taken a timely action of arresting that MLA, but I demand that the Telangana government must take the voice sample of that MLA, make that case legally tight, because this cannot go on. In this day and age, when someone utters this sort of derogatory and this sort of what we call, sadak chhap language, though government has asked the youth, they have tried to remove it, but it has gone. This is an official policy of BJP, because they know that politically success is not coming in Telangana, and that is why they have decided to come on the original policy of hurting the sentiments, of using derogatory language against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Please remember that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for Muslims, he is the only person for us. I am a Muslim because of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You cannot use such language. This is not on. This is not acceptable.
Sir,
Well, on to more breaking news coming in. This one from JNK, where a terror hideout has been busted by the security forces. The hideout that has been busted in Baramulla, we are told. Well, these are the first visuals also that we are getting to you right now of the terror hideout that has been busted in JNK's Baramulla. The first visuals coming in right now, the hideout that was used by these terrorists. More information is awaited. We'll go across to Zenat as well to get us more details of this hideout that has been busted and all the incriminating materials as well that have been recovered from this hideout site. But the first visuals coming in right now of the hideout that has been busted in JNK's Baramulla. So a big crackdown on terror by the security personnel there, as a terror hideout that has been busted in Baramulla. In fact, these are the first visuals also that we are putting on our screens. You can see this was the hideout that was being used by these terrorists in Baramulla, and that has now been busted by the forces. We have Shravan, our senior editor, also joining us. Shravan, if you could give us more details on this terror hideout that has been busted.
Well, in fact, this was a joint operation that was basically carried out, is what we are being told. In fact, this hideout has been busted in North Kashmir in Baramulla district is what we are picking up at this point in time. With regards to whether at all there have been any recovery of arms and ammunition, as of now, the preliminary assessment that has been done and the information that we have, there is an indication that no arms and ammunition that have been recovered from these places. But it's important to point out here is the fact that this was a joint operation that was basically carried out in Bukam area of North Kashmir's Baramulla district. Remember, these are some of these hideouts in various parts of North Kashmir which are essentially used by the terrorists to ensure that they recuperate and also perhaps store some of their ammunition, in fact food items also. There have been hideouts that have been busted in the past, and especially in these forested areas in which most of these terrorists actually hide out. One of these hideout has now been busted in Baramulla. We'll be waiting for some more information to come in, or also perhaps bring in our colleague Zenat on this entire matter to get us more details with regards to whether at all there has been any recovery. The information that I have is that no such recovery of arms and ammunition as of now, but all that has been confirmed is the fact that this hideout has now been busted by the joint operation that was basically carried out. On your screens right now, that's the latest image coming in of the hideout that has been busted.
Yes. Well, Shravan, thank you for getting us all those details. Like Shravan was telling us, it was a joint operation that was carried out by the forces with respect to this hideout that has been busted by the personnel. You can see the first visuals also, that images that we are putting on our screens. As of now, more information is awaited with regard to incriminating materials that could have been recovered from this hideout site. We'll go across to Zenat as well to get us more details, but that's a big crackdown on terror in JNK's Baramulla. In fact, those are the visuals, the hideout that was being used by these terrorists in Baramulla. It's a forested area, like Shravan was telling us. More details are awaited with respect to any arms or ammunition that were recovered from this hideout site. But that's a joint team operation that was carried out with regard to busting of this hideout that was used by these terrorists. So the first images of busted hideout on Republic. More details are awaited, but what we know so far is that this hideout that was being used by the terrorists. And Zenat is also joining us live. Zenat, if you could give us more details on this hideout that has been busted, any incriminating materials that have been recovered from this site with regard to any ammunition or arms from this hideout that has been busted?
Hideout that has been busted by the joint forces that include Jammu Kashmir Police along with Indian Army in Muqam area of North Kashmir's Baramulla district, where the hideout has been busted. Although this hideout, nothing was found, only some clothes and some blankets were found. As of now, no arms and ammunition have been recovered. But since the forces were carrying search in the orchards of Muqam area of Baramulla, so they were able to bust this hideout that was used by the terrorists. And now the hideout has been busted, because this is not the only hideout that has been busted. If you go just 2 days before, there was a hideout that was busted by the forces in Chopin as well, where the arms and ammunition, a tunnel was busted by the security forces there in the Chopin district. So this is a routine crackdown on that terror network by the Jammu and Kashmir police along with the army, because nowadays we are seeing that.
All right, Zenat, leaving it here. So Zenat there getting us details on the first images of the terror hideout that we are putting on our screens, that the hideout that has been busted.
मोदिया ने फेल कर दिया, इसलिए पूरी की पूरी भारतीय जनता पार्टी
मैं एज ए मेंबर
सरकार बनाने का, तोड़ने का प्रयोग सफल हो गया था। मेघालय में तो सरकार बनाने का प्रयोग सफल हो गया था। हेमंत विश्व शर्मा को कांग्रेस तोड़कर अपनी पार्टी में लाने का तो प्रयोग सफल हो गया था। अरे ईडी की जांच मुकुल राय पर कराकर उनको तोड़ने में तो सफलता मिल गई थी, उसको भाजपा का राष्ट्रीय उपाध्यक्ष भी बना दिया गया।
In US, a body found in Northern California reservoir is believed to be that of a 16-year-old Kelly Rodney, who went missing weeks ago after attending a party at a Sierra Nevada campground in the United States.
Still an active investigation, and I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. Again, it is still a very active investigation.
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander Vulin in Moscow. Both the leaders discussed the situation in Kosovo. Lavrov also assured Vulin that Russia's position on the sanctions remains same. This comes after the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovo leaders earlier this week in Brussels.
In the latest development in Pahalgam accident, an ITBP Jawan has succumbed to his injuries, taking the total death toll to 8. Meanwhile, more than 30 Jawans are being treated in different hospitals in Jammu and Kashmir. Reacting to yesterday's protest in Bihar, where police were seen charging with lathis on protesters, the BJP leader Naval Kishore Yadav has said that the
सरकार तोड़ने के लिए क्यों मनीष सिसोदिया पे दबाव बना रहे थे बीजेपी में शामिल होने के लिए, क्यों मनीष सिसोदिया के ऊपर दबाव बना रहे थे ईडी सीबीआई के जरिए कि दिल्ली की सरकार गिरा दी जाए। आप पूरे देश में यही करना चाहते हो, यही ड्रामे चलाना चाहते हो, यही तानाशाही चलाना चाहते हो। अब तुम्हारी तानाशाही दिल्ली के अंदर हम नहीं चलने देंगे। और पहले भी कहा था, अब भी कह रहे हैं, मुद्दा शराब नीति नहीं है, मुद्दा है केजरीवाल की बढ़ती हुई लोकप्रियता। कैसे 3 बार दिल्ली जीत गए, कैसे पंजाब में प्रचंड बहुमत आ गया, कैसे गुजरात में लोकप्रियता बढ़ रही है, कैसे पूरे देश में भारत को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाने का मिशन सफलतापूर्वक चल रहा है। इस केजरीवाल को रोको, मोदी जी की कोशिश ये है। आम आदमी पार्टी को रोको, मोदी जी की कोशिश ये है। इनके मिशन को रोको, मोदी जी की कोशिश ये है। इनकी तमाम जनता को दी जाने वाली निःशुल्क सुविधाओं को रोको, मोदी जी की कोशिश ये है। लेकिन मैं नरेंद्र मोदी जी आपसे कहना चाहता हूं, मैं बीजेपी के लोगों से कहना चाहता हूं, ना अब आपसे अरविंद केजरीवाल रुकने वाले हैं, ना शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य का मॉडल रुकने वाला है। तो मुझे इतनी बात कहनी थी और मैंने पहले भी कहा था, आज भी दोहरा रहा हूं, न दूर दूर तक कोई भ्रष्टाचार हुआ था, न है, न होगा। बहुत सारी जांचें पहले भी करा चुके और इस बार का जो प्रयोग ऑपरेशन लोटस, ऑपरेशन बोगस बना, उसके ऊपर बीजेपी को जवाब देना चाहिए।
संजय जी, एक सवाल है, पार्टी जब आई थी तो पार्टी में डिफरेंस की बात की जा रही थी और कहा था कि किसी पे आरोप भी लगे तो इस्तीफा दे देना चाहिए, कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। तो क्या अभी भी वही चीजें हैं पार्टी के अंदर, अगर किसी पर आरोप लगे तो?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको इस सवाल को पूछने के लिए धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। इसका मतलब आप ये मानते हैं कि कुलदीप सेंगर की पार्टी विद द डिफरेंस नहीं है। आप ये मानते हैं कि चिन्मयानंद की पार्टी विद द डिफरेंस नहीं है। आप ये मानते हैं कि येदियुरप्पा की पार्टी से ईमानदारी की उम्मीद नहीं की जा सकती। आप ये मानते हैं कि व्यापम घोटाले वालों से ईमानदारी की उम्मीद नहीं की जा सकती। आप ये मानते हैं कि बंगारू लक्ष्मण की पार्टी से ईमानदारी की उम्मीद नहीं की जा सकती। अरे, शहीदों के ताबूत में घोटाला करने वालों से ईमानदारी की उम्मीद नहीं की जा सकती। ये सवाल आपका यही बताता है कि आपको उम्मीद है, देश को उम्मीद है, तो एक ही पार्टी से उम्मीद है, आम आदमी पार्टी से ईमानदारी की उम्मीद है। और इसके 2 उदाहरण दूंगा। भारत की आजादी के बाद एकमात्र पार्टी आम आदमी पार्टी है जिसके नेता अरविंद केजरीवाल के पास कोई सीबीआई की शिकायत नहीं आई थी, कोई ईडी की शिकायत नहीं आई थी, कोई एसीबी की शिकायत नहीं आई थी, कोई दिल्ली पुलिस की शिकायत नहीं आई थी। बावजूद इसके अपने मंत्री का जरा सी भी गलती पाने के बाद उन्होंने निकाल के बाहर किया। याद कर लीजिए, भगवंत मान जी की सरकार पंजाब में, कोई ईडी की जांच नहीं, कोई सीबीआई नहीं, कोई एसीबी की रिपोर्ट नहीं। जैसे ही उनको भ्रष्टाचार मिला अपने मंत्री का, उन्होंने निकाल के बाहर किया। लेकिन उत्पीड़न और भ्रष्टाचार में फर्क होता है। उत्पीड़न की कहानी मैं बता रहा हूं, 1 मिनट में सुनिएगा। 2015
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
The JNU Vice Chancellor Spakta Rao saying anthropologically gods do not belong to the upper caste and that gods could be from the scheduled caste or tribe. She also said an high court status of Shudras given to women in Manu Smriti makes it extraordinarily regressive.
No god is a Brahmin. The highest is a Kshatriya. Lord Shiva must be a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe. Because he sits in a cemetery with a snake and has very little, poor thing, we have given him very little clothes also.
unidentified persons allegedly stole 10 ancient idols from a temple in Maharashtra's Jalna district. 700 years old ancient idols remain missing from Jambasamarth temple. Meanwhile, NCP leader Rajesh Tope urged the management to inquire about the matter.
आज पहाटे जे रामदास स्वामी त्या ठिकाणी रामाचं, लक्ष्मणाचं, हनुमानाच्या ज्या पूजा करायच्या ॲक्च्युली मूर्तींच्या पंचधातूच्या मूर्ती, ते पहाटे 3 वाजता काही अज्ञात चोरट्यांनी कम्प्लिटली या सगळ्या 700 वर्ष पूर्वीच्या ह्या सगळ्या मूर्त्या चोरलेल्या आहेत. म्हणून मला एवढंच म्हणायचं, महाराष्ट्रभरातून लोक तिथे दर्शनाला येतात, मुंबईतून जातात, सगळीकडून जातात आणि त्यामुळे या संदर्भातलं आपण गांभीर्याने नोंद घेऊन कळवावं असं मला वाटतं.
Following a missing complaint, police has been examining CCTV footage from the temple to identify the suspects. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And here's a look at some other news. The BJP has
बिलबिला रहे हैं भाजपाई, बिलबिला रहे हैं बेचारे कि अरे बाप रे बाप, हमारा तो ऑपरेशन लोटस ऑपरेशन बोगस बन गया, फेल हो गए हम तो जो प्रयोग सिंधे पे सफल हुआ वो प्रयोग सिसोदिया पर फेल हो गया.
संजय जी, आज बीजेपी ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके फ्रेश सेट ऑफ एलिगेशंस लगाया है. इसमें 2 प्रमुख बात निकल के आ रही है. एक, उन्होंने नाम लिया मैन्युफैक्चरर्स का जिनको L1 लाइसेंसेस दिए गए.
अब उनको जितना ड्रामा कर रहे हैं करने दीजिए, उनको जितनी नौटंकी कर रहे हैं करने दीजिए. अब उनका असली चेहरा देश के सामने आ गया. उनका मकसद था दिल्ली की सरकार को गिराना. पहला इसका जवाब दो कि जो प्रयोग तुमने हर राज्य के अंदर सरकारों को गिराने के लिए, विधायकों को खरीद फरोख्त करने के लिए किया, ये कुत्सित प्रयास, ये तानाशाही दिल्ली के अंदर क्यों कर रहे थे, इसका जवाब देना. अब बीजेपी बेईमानों की सरगना पार्टी, जिसके अंदर 5 लाख करोड़ रुपए अपने पूंजीपति मित्रों का ये लोग टैक्स माफ कर देते हैं, 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए बैंकों का राइट ऑफ कर देते हैं, वो हमसे सवाल पूछेंगे. जिनका राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष रक्षा सौदे में दलाली खाते हुए कैमरे पे पकड़ा गया हो, उनके सवालों का रोज रोज अब जवाब देना हमारी कोई मजबूरी नहीं है. उनको पूरे देश को बताना चाहिए ये ऑपरेशन लोटस के जरिए दिल्ली की सरकार को गिराने और मनीष सिसोदिया को सीबीआई की धमकी देके तोड़ने की कोशिश क्यों कर रहे थे, इसका जवाब दो.
So the face-off continues between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP over the liquor scam case. Back-to-back press conference is what is happening at this point, even as AAP is seen ducking the specific questions that are being asked by the BJP, with the latter asking the AAP why it had to roll back the excise policy if it has done no wrong. In US, a body found in Northern California reservoir is believed to be that of a 16-year-old Kelly Rodney, who went missing weeks ago after attending a party at a Sierra Nevada campground in the United States.
Still an active investigation, and I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. And again, it is still a very active investigation.
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander Vulin in Moscow. Both the leaders discussed the situation in Kosovo. Lavrov also assured Vulin that Russia's position on the sanctions remains same. This comes after the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovo leaders earlier this week in Brussels.
In the latest development in Pahalgam accident, an ITBP Jawan has succumbed to his injuries, taking the total death toll to 8. Meanwhile, more than 30 Jawans are being treated in different hospitals in Jammu and Kashmir. Reacting to yesterday's protest in Bihar, where police were seen charging with lathis on protesters, the BJP leader Naval Kishore Yadav has said that the entire incident is unfortunate. He further added that our national flag was also insulted.
आंख के सामने स्क्रीन पर जिस तरह से उस बच्चे को मारा जा रहा है, और लोकतंत्र में मारने का कहाँ जगह है। लंबी लंबी बात करते हैं, कभी चाचा करते हैं, 20 लाख भतीजा करते हैं, 10 लाख नौकरी देंगे, अदला अदली बोल रहे हैं।
Back-to-back news breaks coming in. This one, an update with respect to the arrest of BJP, Telangana BJP chief Bandi Sanjay. Now, JP Nadda has tweeted saying, and I quote, "I strongly condemn the illegal arrest of our BJP Telangana state president by the TRS government. KCR is worried seeing the massive support that BJP is receiving from all corners of the state against this corrupt and family-centric regime. We will fight democratically and ensure that in the coming elections, TRS and KCR will be wiped out."
Unidentified persons allegedly stole 10 ancient idols from a temple in Maharashtra's Jalna district. 700 years old ancient idols remain missing from Jamb Samarth temple. Meanwhile, NCP leader Rajesh Tope urged the management to inquire about the matter.
आज पहाटे जे रामदास स्वामी त्या ठिकाणी रामाचं, लक्ष्मणाचं, हनुमानाच्या ज्या पूजा करायच्या ॲक्च्युली मूर्तींच्या, पंचधातूच्या मूर्ती, ते पहाटे 3 वाजता काही अज्ञात चोरट्यांनी कम्प्लिटली या सगळ्या 700 वर्ष पूर्वीच्या ह्या सगळ्या मूर्त्या चोरलेल्या आहेत. म्हणून मला एवढंच म्हणायचं, महाराष्ट्रभरातून लोक तिथे दर्शनाला येतात, मुंबईतून जातात, सगळीकडून जातात, आणि त्यामुळे या संदर्भातलं आपण गांभीर्याने नोंद घेऊन कळवावं असं मला वाटतं.
Following a missing complaint, police has been examining CCTV footage from the temple to identify the suspects. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And here's a look at some other news. The BJP has hit out at the Congress leader Siddaramaiah for allegedly visiting a temple after eating non-vegetarian food. In response to the scandal, Siddaramaiah has said that the BJP is an expert at lighting fires when there is peace. Former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray expelled Minister Uday Samant and senior leader Yashwant Yadav from the Sena party today. Now both the ministers have joined the Chief Minister Shinde's camp. Shocking visuals on your screens show an assault on a school teacher in Goa. A complaint has been registered against the PWD engineer Altaf Sheikh for allegedly assaulting a school teacher. Meanwhile, the police is investigating the matter.
In US, a body found in Northern California reservoir is believed to be that of a 16-year-old Kelly Rodney, who went missing weeks ago after attending a party at a Sierra Nevada campground in the United States.
Sisodia, Deputy CM, has left for an event speaking to media.
Anubrata Mondal was given custody and CBI will be continuing the investigation.
बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता जो सीएम आवास घेरने की कोशिश में है,
Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. We are live and breaking. Lots lined up for you in this edition. Let's get started with the top headlines this afternoon. After Congress Savarkar insult, BJP makes Savarkar #1 issue. Mega Savarkar Rath Yatra today. Bilkis Bano case in the top court. Supreme Court agrees to hear PIL challenging remission of killers. Freebies face-off hearing in top court. SG says in Supreme Court it has serious impacts on exchequer. BJP MLA Raja Singh booked for controversial remarks after late-night protest. JNU VC Stokes Rao says no Hindu god was a Brahmin. Liquorgate showdown in Telangana. BJP chief Bandi Sanjay now arrested. Tamil Nadu Minister Sparks Rao compares Modi government to British rule at Oxford. Well, starting with a big story this afternoon coming in from Tamil Nadu, where Tamil Nadu Minister Tyagarajan has sparked a row with regard to the controversial remarks that he had made at the Oxford, where he compared the Modi government to the British Rule 2.0, saying that, saying that the Modi government is similar to British Raj 2.0. That's a remark that was made by the Tamil Nadu minister Tyagarajan. Of course, he's drawn a lot of flack, a lot of backlash over these controversial remarks that he had made at the Oxford University. Let's listen into that controversial remark of Tyagarajan once again.
That the new version, the resurrection, has happened. If you look at it two ways, in the UK, the once colonized have now taken over the kingdom. If you look at the cabinet today, whether it's the Treasury Secretary, the Home Secretary, Junior Minister in the Foreign Office, my good friend now, Lord Billy Moria, you look at people like this, the once colonized have now taken over the kingdom. The kingdom doesn't exert its power anymore. And if you look in India, we are well on our way to a Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Was Tamil Nadu Minister Tyagarajan, who has sparked a row with his controversial remarks that he made at the Oxford University, where he compared the Modi government to British Raj, calling it British Raj 2.0. That's a remark coming in by the Tamil Nadu minister. A lot of reactions as well pouring in. We've been speaking to BJP leaders as well, who have come down heavily on the Tamil Nadu minister for his controversial remarks. We'll go across to Varshini as well to get the latest on the reactions coming in, but closely tracking this big story from Tamil Nadu, where Tamil Nadu is facing a lot of backlash. We have Niranjan, also our executive editor, also joining us. Niranjan, if you could help us read into this, the big story coming in from Tamil Nadu, where the minister has made a controversial remark.
Well, you know, there was a time when our leaders, our political leaders would go on the Oxford debate and question the British and how they plundered India. But it's for the first time, perhaps, that someone has gone there, and a minister chosen by the people in his state, his government was voted into power in Tamil Nadu, questioning our own government and comparing Indian government to the British Raj. Let me get in a word from Varshini. Varshini, what are the different reactions coming in Tamil Nadu to this comment made by Tyagarajan?
Well, Niranjan, if you see, the BJP is definitely, agitated with the kind of remark that he's made on a global stage. The BJP reactions are that Palnivel Tyagarajan, the minister, Honorable Finance Minister, has been, taking a global stage to criticize an Indian government. Where, how does he even call himself an Indian citizen is what they are, questioning. They bring up questions like, is this an attempt by the Finance Minister to try and hide behind the fact that he he's still, struggling to bring the financial situation of the Tamil Nadu government back up, and this is just a distraction that he's trying to put forth so that the conversations about the debts that Tamil Nadu is facing can be put under rest, and these kind of controversies can be put in the front, is what the BJP says. And the BJP still accuses Palnivel Thiagarajan for not concentrating on how to bring back or recover Tamil Nadu from the debt it's facing, rather than commenting and criticizing about the centre that is actually trying to help out Tamil Nadu from the financial debt that it is facing. The BJP, this kind of controversial statements that he's made at the Oxford debate has definitely not sitting well with the BJP. People here are definitely upset with the kind of remark that he's made, but at the same time they strongly believe that this is definitely a way that he's trying to hide behind the facts, the truth about the situation of Tamil Nadu's finances.
Okay, I think we're getting a response from America in Narayanan. America in Narayanan joining us on the phone line. America in Narayanan, what is your response to your ally comparing the government of India to Raj 2.0?
The first thing is that, let's get into the facts. That has been like the Modi Sarkar has been collecting money more as a cess, which is not shared with the state government, and they said they have increased the percentage of share of the tax revenue, but instead of collecting it as a share tax, they are collecting it as a cess. This morning, data has been published in a major...
No, 1 minute. No, these data in the debates, Mr. America. My question, I think I'll repeat my question. My question was, a minister from India, a minister voted to power in India, right? Like he's the minister in Tamil Nadu, he's the finance minister, he's an honorable finance minister, well educated, he's gone to the UK, right? Now the question is, why would you go to London and irrespective of your political differences in India, why would you speak badly about an elected leader in India?
Well, that's a great question. Maybe he is following Mr. Modi ji. Mr. Modi has gone to United States, New York, and talked ill of the Indian leaders there. Whereas Vajpayee...
So you're saying if they do it, it's fine. You can question them, but if your own does it, it's okay. It's
No, I never said it's okay. Please understand. I question Modi ji as well as Mr. Thiagarajan. I think sometimes he just shoots off his mouth. I don't have problems with that. I've criticized him in my tweets also. But the bottom line is, the Prime Minister of India has to set a role model. Unfortunately, the other ministers, local ministers, follow the Prime Minister in this particular thing.
So you're okay, but so you're condemning him. If I heard you correctly, you feel it's wrong.
Absolutely. I condemn as much as Mr. Modi as I condemn Mr. Palnivel Thiagarajan. I don't think we should speak ill of India. We have our differences, but I think one thing we need to understand, condemning the Prime Minister's office does not mean you condemn India.
No, but he spoke about British. He said Raj 2.0. Obviously, the reference was to the government. I don't think that reference was lost on anyone, Mr. America.
No, the point is that I think we need to take it in the context. He is saying the Prime Minister of India is acting as if he's the British Raj is acting.
Yeah, exactly. So you're almost then in that case you're almost comparing what the British did and trying to draw an equivalence with the government of the day, which is obviously wrong, sir. They've plundered us for centuries.
For example, I will say, it is in India I am saying that the Britishers divided us and ruled. As a matter of fact, in Tamil Nadu, they used Justice Party, which is a precursor of DMK, to divide Tamil Nadu, Congress and DK. Same thing the current Prime Minister is doing in India in terms of dividing our country. I don't think there's anything wrong in saying he's using the practice of DK and he's using the practice of British Raj.
No, I don't think even for debating, even for the sake of debate, I think, Mr. America, I first of all appreciate partly the stand you took to say that it's wrong either way. But to draw, even for the sake of debating, to draw that comparison, I think would be wrong. So I'll let it go at this point because I want to get in Varshini and Varshini, some of the responses that are coming in fact, more responses coming in. But before that, let me just play out what he said. This is Thiagarajan, who's the finance minister in Tamil Nadu. His statement at the Oxford debate.
That one of the surest signs that the ghost is dead is that the new version, the resurrection, has happened. If you look at it two ways, in the UK, the once colonized have now taken over the kingdom. If you look at the cabinet today, whether it's the Treasury Secretary, the Home Secretary, Junior Minister in the Foreign Office, my good friend now, Lord Billy Moria, you look at people like this, the once colonized have now taken over the kingdom. The kingdom doesn't exert its power anymore. And if you look in India, we are well on our way to a Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Okay, one more. I think Varshini is getting in more responses. One question from Varshini. Varshini, what's the latest response you're getting? And then we have some more breaking news now coming in. Varshini.
Well, yes, the reactions from BJP is definitely that we can understand that the BJP is definitely upset with the kind of remarks that he has made on a global stage. First of all, they think that the BJP people that we spoke to today after listening into the speech of the finance minister, they say that it is a distraction that he's trying to put forth and, to hide behind the fact that Tamil Nadu is currently a debt-burdened state and that he's struggling to bring back Tamil Nadu from the debts that it is facing right now, and these kind of remarks are just a way to distract the whole scenario and to keep try and criticizing the BJP government again and again, so that the issues that is really important in the state are not being discussed or debated in a bigger manner.
I'm getting into responses right now. Varshini, stay with me. Stay with me. I have Sumant C. Raman and Kovai Satyan. Okay, why don't Sumant you go first, and I'll get Kovai to respond to you. Sumant, you can have political differences in India, you can debate in India, you can speak about the government in India, you have political differences, you can fight it out. But to do it in London, to almost forgive how the British plundered us and to draw an equivalence to the British rule to the present government of the day voted by the people. Sumant, do you think that was right? Sumant, and then Kovai will respond.
No, we have to understand that the finance minister comes from a very, very privileged background, which he points out almost at every opportunity. I think that, to be very fair, his ancestors, some of them wanted the British rule to continue. So his statement today is in some senses, inappropriate. And of course, the location in which it was said is also very, unfortunate. But I think that, he would be well advised. Perhaps the Chief Minister, who had already advised him once not to be so vocal with public statements, perhaps it's time for the Chief Minister to again advise him on, how to be circumspect with what he says. But the state is still waiting to see what exactly he has done with the economy. We don't know very, very much as to what he has actually achieved so far, except for all the tall talk and the statements that he keeps making at regular intervals.
Well, a strong comment even by Sumant there. Let me get in Kovai as well. Kovai, you heard Sumant? He's got a point there. He's got a very strong point. Kovai Satyan. Okay, I may have lost that line there. But Sumant, I'll take one quick question with you. Do you think it's going to stop somewhere? Do you think it's because, he's seen as this, of course, he is well educated, he's qualified, he's a professional. And what's even more surprising is that someone like him making this statement, do you think there would be any repercussion of such statements being made? Because there's been a debate around Thiagarajan for quite some time. Sumant? Okay, lost that line there. Okay, fine. We're getting in some more breaking news right now. Tracking the story very, very closely. Many who even criticize, who criticize the Modi government, saying what this minister did in London was wrong. Let's move on and get you some more breaking news now coming in from Karnataka, where the Congress party Congress party's stand on Savarkar has led to something much, much bigger. That's B.S. Yadurappa, the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, who has just flagged off a Savarkar Rath Yatra. Savarkar Rath Yatra in Mysuru. Savarkar becoming the big talking point in Karnataka with B.S. Yadurappa flagging off that Rath Yatra. I'd like to go across also to what Yadurappa said some time back. Savarkar Yatra, that's a Rath Yatra held by some of the groups there, not essentially by the BJP. That was Yadurappa backing it, flagging it off, but not held by the BJP. It is flagged off, in fact, by one of the volunteers there. Let's play out what he said.
Rath Yatra ಮೂಲಕ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂತ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಅವರ ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆಗಳನ್ನ ಜನರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸುವಂತ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸಿ ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂತ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದು. ಆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋಕೆ ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನ ಸೇರಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಸಿದ್ಧ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಹಕರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
And that was B.S. Yadurappa. Let's go across to Nivedana as well, and that was B.S. Yadurappa, who is one of the tallest leaders who's been appointed by the BJP to its parliamentary board. Many saying that he could be leading the BJP into the next elections in Karnataka. Yadurappa giving his support. In fact, let's play out that soundbite. I'll translate over that once again. This is what B.S. Yadurappa said while flagging off the Rath Yatra earlier today in Mysuru. That Rath Yatra will go through different districts of Karnataka. Savarkar has become the biggest talking point, number one issue. The BJP is also making it the big issue in Karnataka.
ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂತ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಅವರ ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆಗಳನ್ನ ಜನರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸುವಂತ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿ
The whole idea is to speak about Savarkar's achievements and his contribution to India's freedom struggle.
ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನ ಸೇರಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
And in different parts of the state, people will get to know about the contribution of Savarkar, and they should join this Rath Yatra, as what Yadurappa was just saying. Let me go across to Nivedana. She's been tracking the developments as well. It's been ongoing, Nivedana, for over 2 weeks now. Savarkar issue, and it's spreading like wildfire in almost every district of Karnataka, and the BJP, of course, also latching onto it. Why don't you tell us about the different reactions that have been coming in? What are different people saying about the BJP making Savarkar the issue?
That's right, Niranjan. Like you just mentioned, the Savarkar poster face-off has been, a topic of discussion in Karnataka for the past 2 weeks now. Like the Rath Yatra has been flagged off by former Karnataka Chief Minister Yadurappa, and in that bite that he was stating that through this Rath Yatra, they're hoping that they will talk about the achievements of Savarkar and bring to the attention of people as to what he has contributed. Now, we did see earlier reactions as to how, it all started from Siddaramaia's comment earlier about the fact that why was the Savarkar poster, put up in a Muslim area, which of course created a lot of backlash. And after that, we've been seeing continuous back and forth between the Congress and the BJP. But in terms of this particular Rath Yatra, which was flagged off today earlier at 11 a.m., will be going through different districts of Karnataka, right from Chamarajpet to Mysuru, as well as Hubli as well. On the other hand, the organizer of the Yatra went on to state that the other part of actually organizing this Rath Yatra is to ensure that people will know the contribution of Savarkar, as well as if people would want to access information in terms of his life, would also be put on display in that LED display that will happen in the Rath Yatra.
Thank you for joining us with those inputs. Tracking the story very closely from Karnataka, tracking that Rath Yatra, in fact, as it moves from one district to another. Chamarajnagar, it's a small correction, they're not Chamarajpet, but Chamarajnagar, and we'll also go through different districts, including Mandya and Mysuru. Republic tracking the story. Thank you, Nivedana. Quick check of the other top stories on Republic this afternoon. Let's get you some more updates. Supreme Court hearing a petition that seeks directions to the Election Commission to not permit political parties to promise freebies during an election campaign. Representatives of the court hearing the case deliberated on the extent of the definition of freebies and what resources were to be considered a part of the same. The petition filed by former BJP spokesman Ashwini Upadhyay seeks intervention by the Aam Aadmi Party and the DMK. They've gone to the Supreme Court on that issue. A bailable warrant has been issued by a Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Prevention Act court against Rubaiya Saeed, daughter of former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed, sister of Mehbooba Mufti, who had also been abducted by Yaseen Malik in 1989. The warrant has been issued as she missed summons issued to her. Rubaiya had earlier identified Yaseen Malik as one of her abductors this year. Supreme Court took note of Baba Ramdev's alleged comments against other forms of medicines, particularly allopathy, and claimed that incurable diseases could be treated via misleading advertisements. The comments came about after advocate representing the Indian Medical Association, or the IMA, presented his arguments in the matter. Chief of the BJP in Telangana, Bandi, Sanjay, was arrested by the police following protests held by the members of the TRS at a TRS leader K. Kavita's residence. Members of the BJP had earlier been booked by the Telangana police under attempt to murder charges following the protests over the TRS's alleged involvement in the Delhi liquor scam. Income Tax Department has conducted a raid at the KH Group in Chennai, a company involved in leather bag businesses and other accessories. Raids were in connection with the company and are further reported to have been held at least 50 locations across the state. Incident of gunfire reported from the neighborhood of Diga in Patna, with one individual killed in the process, in the attack, and the incident was also captured on CCTV. Getting in pictures of the Congress protest in Ludhiana. This is after one of their former leaders was arrested, former minister was arrested. Let me go across to Amandeep live from the location where the Congress is protesting. Amandeep, over to you. Amandeep.
Well, absolutely, Niranjan. Since morning, in fact, since yesterday, Congress is confronting the Aam Aadmi Party's this act. They arrested the former minister Bharat Bhushan Ashu in a food grain transportation scam. And in fact, now I can show you the visuals. The Congress president has also been arrived outside the vigilance department. And in fact, they are protesting, continuously protesting, and even questioning the act of the vigilance, the kind of investigation they have done regarding this scam. And in fact, they are quoting it as a complete political vendetta also, just because one after another, when the vigilance department has arrested first the PA of former minister Bharat Bhushan Singh Ashu, and in fact after that they have directly gone to arrest with the high drama yesterday evening. Now we will try to listen, Ranjan, what the Congress president Raja Vadenge is saying now.
यार अहीं पुछना चाहना सरकार दी कि एक कैबिनेट मंत्री दी जिम्मेदारी हैगी आ कि ਉਹ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਟਰੈਕਟਰ ਦਾ ਨੰਬਰ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰੇ। ਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਈ, ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਰੱਖੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਫੜ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਮਿੰਟ ਮੈਡਮ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗੱਲ ਪੂਰੀ ਕਰ ਲੈਣ ਦਿਓ। ਜੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਠੇਕੇਦਾਰ ਫੜਿਆ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਠੇਕੇਦਾਰ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਾਂ ਲੈਤੇ, पूरा कोई सबूत पैसे दिते दा, पैसे नगद दिते, कोई ट्रांजैक्शन है, फलां है। वैसे तो अक्सर ही कहा जाता है कि फलां प्रॉपर्टी फलाने बंदे दी है, फलां प्रॉपर्टी फलाने बंदे दी है, फलां। जिन्ना चिकर कागजी पत्री कोई चीज नहीं है, तुसी कानून दे सामने किदां साबित करोगे कि ये फलाने नूं पैसे दिते, कारे चैक ना दिते, कारे नाल पैसे दिते। उस वेले दी कोई वीडियो है, कोई वॉइस नोट है भी मैं फला समय दी है। जे ऐसा कोई सबूत नहीं है ते तुसी एक बंदे दे कहन ते लिया के तुसी एक मंत्री, कैबिनेट रैंक दे मंत्री नूं फड़ लिया। इसे करके मैं कहना प्रक्रिया चंगी नहीं है, तो कल कोई भी व्यक्ति खड़ा होकर किसी के खिलाफ
रिंग साहब, उस तो बाद जब बिट्टू जी को भी बिट्टू जी के ऊपर भी FIR करने जा रही है सरकार।
मैं आपको ये कहना चाहता हूँ, दिल्ली की बात भी
मैं किसी एजेंसी को ये नहीं कहना चाहता कि वो जायज काम कर रही है.
Okay, that's the Congress party. They're protesting after one of their own ministers, former ministers, has been arrested by the vigilance in Punjab.
In a robbery incident, 2 police constables were seen fighting 6 robbers in Andhra Pradesh's Krishna district. 6 robbers tried to break open the ATM's gate when the cops got hold of them. The robbers holding Bangladesh identity were caught by the police when they were on round in Gangavaram area on their vehicle. Cops suspected some action in the ATM when its shutter was half open and lights switched off. After hearing noise from inside, cops got hold 6 robbers with blades and intent to break open the ATM machine. However, 2 robbers have been caught by the police while others managed to escape, attacking on the constables. Police has seized mobile phones from the 2 accused. Meanwhile, search operations are underway. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander Vulin in Moscow. Both the leaders discussed the situation in Kosovo. Lavrov also assured Vulin that Russia's position on the sanctions remains same. This comes after the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovo leaders earlier this week in Brussels.
In the latest development in Pahalgam accident, an ITBP Jawan has succumbed to his injuries, taking the total death toll to 8. Meanwhile, more than 30 Jawans are being treated in different hospitals in Jammu and Kashmir. Reacting to yesterday's protest in Bihar, where police were seen charging with lathis on protesters, the BJP leader Naval Kishore Yadav has said that the entire incident is unfortunate. He further added that our national flag was also insulted.
आंख के सामने स्क्रीन पर जिस तरह से उस बच्चे को मारा जा रहा है, और लोकतंत्र में मारने का कहाँ जगह है। लंबी लंबी बात करते हैं, कभी चाचा कहते हैं, 20 लाख भतीजा कहते हैं, 10 लाख नौकरी देंगे, अदला अदली बोल रहे हैं।
The JNU Vice Chancellor Spakta Rao saying anthropologically gods do not belong to the upper caste and that gods could be from the scheduled caste or tribe. She also said, and I quote, status of Shudras given to women in Manu Smriti makes it extraordinarily regressive.
Biggest political debate on federalism versus nationalism.
If you look in India, we are well on our way to a Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Federalism cannot come at the cost of nationalism. Debating tonight at 10 p.m.
Viewers, we have breaking news coming in from Assam. The Kamrup CJM court has summoned Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia for appearance on September 29th in connection with the defamation case filed against him by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. This is a fresh news coming in from Assam, where, I repeat, the Kamrup CJM court has issued summons to the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Manish Sisodia, based on the defamation case filed by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. We have Anirudh joining us on the phone to tell us more about this. Anirudh, over to you. Tell us all the details.
Yes, Ankit, Manish Sisodia had addressed a press conference in Delhi a few months back, where he alleged scams under the aegis of Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, and refuting the allegations leveled by Manish Sisodia, Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma and his wife Riniki Bhuiya Sarma separately lodged two defamation suits against the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, on which the court had now issued summons to Manish Sisodia, and he will have to appear before the court on 29th of September at the Kamrup CJM court here in Guwahati, Ankit.
Anirudh, just seeking more information from you regarding this. It's been a couple of weeks since this defamation case was filed. Has there been any response so far from Manish Sisodia's side on this? Has his lawyers perhaps made any kind of submission to the court regarding this, or is this the first time that the summons have been issued?
Yes, Ankit, as far as the information available which has Manish Sisodia or his lawyers have not yet responded to the defamation suit filed by the Assam Chief Minister and his wife Riniki Bhuiya Sarma in Guwahati. And yes, that is probably the reason why now the court has issued summons to Manish Sisodia to appear in person on 29th of September here at the Kamrup CJM court in Guwahati.
So there you have it. I thank Anirudh for sharing this information with us. I'm going to just repeat what he has told us, and then I'm going to go back across to him. So basically, the Kamrup Chief Judicial Magistrates Court has summoned Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia for personal appearance on September the 29th in connection with the defamation case that was filed against him by Assam's Chief Minister. Anirudh, if you could just take us through, not of course the specifics of the charges that were leveled, but what the response was at that time. I recall the allegations were leveled by the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and very quickly there was action taken by the Assam Chief Minister in mounting this defense and filing this defamation case against him.
Delhi alleged that a company headed by the Assam Chief Minister's wife, Riniki Bhuiya Sarma, was given contracts of supplying PPE.
Right.
At the time,
right, Anirudh, stay with us. Anirudh, stay with us. We have Anuj also with us on the phone from Delhi. Anuj, trouble clearly mounting for Manish Sisodia. He's in the eye of a storm now on a second front. On September 29th, he'll have to appear in Assam in this defamation case filed by the Assam Chief Minister. What is the Aam Aadmi Party's response been to this entire matter so far? They've stopped talking about it, haven't they?
Well, as if till now there is no response from the Aam Aadmi Party on the same, but this is the latest what we are breaking at this point in time. This is going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Manish Sisodia is already going through and is under the radar of CBI, where we have seen how the premises have been raided, where we have seen the war of word, and now this is again more trouble for the Aam Aadmi Party, whether the Deputy Chief Minister is someone has to be there, and this is in the defamation case which was filed by Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister of Assam. And let me remind you that this was the press conference which was done by Manish Sisodia in the national capital itself on 4th of June. This was the date when this particular press conference was done by Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that's Manish Sisodia, and he has blamed and raised question on the company which is being owned by the wife of the Chief Minister, that's Himanta Biswa Sarma, and there were several allegations regarding the PPE kit, regarding the money of the same. So these were the allegations which was raised in by Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that's Manish Sisodia, and now the court has given the order, and now Manish Sisodia has to be there, and the date is 29th of September. On 29th of September in this particular defamation case, Manish Sisodia has to be there. We will see, we will wait, we will watch what exactly is going to happen. But this is not the first defamation case. If we are talking about the Aam Aadmi Party leadership, we have seen several cases of defamation against the Aam Aadmi Party leadership, and this is the fresh case. But when we are specifically talking about Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of New Delhi, I beg your pardon, national capital, then let me tell you that this is going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, because at this point in time what we are seeing is the war of word, the press conferences after press conferences in the liquor scam, and now this is more trouble for the Aam Aadmi Party, where Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has to be there, and he has been summoned, and this is the defamation case which has been filed by the Chief Minister of Assam, that's Hemanta Biswa Sarma. And let me again remind you, this was the press conference which was done by the Deputy Chief Minister, that's Manish Sisodia, in the national capital, where he raised question against the company and against the working of the company,
Anuj,
which is being owned by the wife
I
of
recall
Hemanta
at
Biswa
that
Sarma.
time when Hemanta Biswa Sarma had mounted a defense, and I'll go across to Anirudh for more details on it. He had said that what Manish Sisodia was alleging, in his words rather, they were humanity. What was engaged in was humanity, it was not corruption. Anirudh, if you could take us through at that time what Hemanta Biswa Sarma had said to defend himself against the allegations that had been made against him by Manish Sisodia.
Yes, Ankit, clearly defending the allegations made by Manish Sisodia at that point in time. Hemanta Biswa Sarma has led out a series of tweets in which he clearly mentioned, along with the documents and papers from the National Health Mission Assam, that in fact that contract which was awarded was cancelled immediately, and the company that is JCB, a company led by Hemanta Biswa Sarma's wife Riniki Bhuiya Sarma, never supplied PPE kits or other equipments as per the order, but instead donated PPE kits to the state government as a CSR initiative. And he said that it was a humanitarian gesture by the company led by his wife, and that no contract was awarded to that particular company in question. And it was following that initially Riniki Bhuiya Sarma filed a civil defamation suit of rupees 100 crore against Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and thereafter a criminal defamation suit was also filed by the Assam Chief Minister at the CJM court here in Kamrup district. And following this, now summons have been issued. So far, as Anuj was also pointing out, no response is coming out from the Aam Aadmi Party. But at that point in time, when the war of tweet was on between the Assam Chief Minister and the Aam Aadmi Party leadership, at that point in time, the Assam Chief Minister, who was at that point in time the Health Minister of State when this allegation came of this contract being awarded.
Anirudh, stay with us. We have Bhabesh Kalita, BJP Assam Chief, patched with us on the phone. Ms. Kalita, could you tell us your first reaction? Manish Sisodia has been summoned now to appear in Assam by the court in this defamation case. Your first response, please.
Yes. मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने जो झूठी बात आरोप लगाया, ये आपका ये कैरेक्टर ही है, इसीलिए आसाम का माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने उसका अगेंस्ट में ये केस फाइल किया, वो अच्छा किया। और मनीष सिसोदिया और आपने जो झूठी बात बोला ना, उसका परिणाम वो लोग भोगेगा।
कालिता जी, हमने देखा था कैसे ये मनीष सिसोदिया ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बुला के कहा था कि हम एक बड़ा एक्सपोजे करेंगे बड़े बीजेपी नेता के अगेंस्ट, उसके बाद से ये बोलना बंद कर दिया है।
सुनिए, मेरा बात सुनिए। मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने जो झूठा आरोप लगाया ना, ये फैसला कोर्ट में होगा, मालूम?
हाँ जी, बोलिए।
वो आदरणीय सीएम ने जो कदम किया, अच्छा किया। उसका आरोप में वो झूठे आरोप लगाया,
राइट।
हमारा सीएम ने।
कालिता जी हमारे साथ बने रहिए। हमारे साथ ऑल्सो जुड़ रहे हैं रंजीत कुमार दास, असम मिनिस्टर। मिस्टर दास, कुड यू टेल अस योर फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्स? द कोर्ट हैज समन्ड मनीष सिसोदिया जी को कोर्ट ने समन किया है इस मामले में, डेफेमेशन केस में। आपका क्या कहना होगा?
As a being law minister, I have only one comment: the law will take its own course. और जो आईन है, कानून को हम लोग सम्मान करना पड़ेगा। और मेरा जो नजर है, so far my knowledge course, law will take its own course. किसी ने लॉ का ऊपर नहीं है, वो मंत्री हो क्या, डिप्टी सीएम हो, जो भी ना हो, जो हम सभी लॉ का विषय है, law will take its own course.
Mr. Das, if you could just speak to us about the specifics of the defense of the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, an allegation was made. How do you term and how do you see what the defense has been and what the truth is? We'll get more responses from Assam, from the political circles there. Meanwhile, we have both Anuj and Anirudh with us, and I'd like to go across to Anuj first. Anuj, you were telling us earlier that this is not the first time that the Aam Aadmi Party has been the subject of defamation cases. They have very notably stopped speaking about this matter. We've seen they've been talking daily about the liquor scam case, but they've not spoken about this matter. So clearly, somewhere or the other, they've decided, haven't they, to not broach this topic anymore.
Oh, well, exactly. This is something which has been always a line which has been taken by Aam Aadmi Party, and that is why we have seen the defamation cases and the numbers of defamation cases which have been filed against the Aam Aadmi Party. But on the other hand, if we talk about this particular case, then let me remind you, Ankit, that this was the press conference which was done by the Deputy Chief Minister, that was Manish Sisodia, and the level of allegation was that there are PPE kit which has been bought in by the company which is being run by the wife of Himanta Biswa Sarma, and if we talk about the particular tenders, that is something which has been alleged by the Aam Aadmi Party and the Manish Sisodia there, that there were several tenders in which the cost of the PPE kit was up to 600 rupees for the other parties or for the other vendors. But for that particular company which is being owned by the wife of Himanta Biswa Sarma, it was 900 rupees. So that all was the kind of allegation and the irregularities which was blamed by Manish Sisodia, and he started the press conference that we are going to do a big expose on Bharatiya Janata Party and a sitting Chief Minister, how the company is being run by the wife of the sitting Chief Minister, that was the Chief Minister of Assam, that's Himanta Biswa Sarma. So we do remember how this press conference was done in the national capital, and this happened on 4th of June in the national capital itself, and it was Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister, who raised all these kind of questions, and this has been alleged that this is a scam which has been done by the Bharatiya Janata Party Chief Minister, sitting Chief Minister, who then was the Health Minister. This is something which was stated for the time of the COVID, who was earlier
अरविंद केजरीवाल, अरे चूहे सारे छिप जाएंगे अपने बिल में, चूहे सारे छिप जाएंगे अपने बिल में, बसेंगे अरविंद केजरीवाल सब युवाओं के दिल में। ભાવનગરની ટીમ માનનીય અરવિંદજી અને માનનીય મનીષજી નું એક ફોટોગ્રાફ આપીને સન્માન કરવા માંગે છે, તો હું એમને નમ્ર અપીલ કરું કે તાત્કાલિક ધોરણે સ્ટેજ ઉપર આવે.
Arvind Kejriwal are on the second day of their visit to Gujarat. They are at a campaign event. Meanwhile, trouble is mounting for Manish Sisodia because he has just been summoned on September the 29th to appear personally in Assam by the Kamrup Chief Judicial Magistrate in the defamation case filed against him by Assam's Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma for the allegations he had made against him in June. And hence, in this way, apart from the liquor scam, also the defamation case is now also circling over Manish Sisodia.
In a robbery incident, 2 police constables were seen fighting 6 robbers in Andhra Pradesh's Krishna district. 6 robbers tried to break open the ATM's gate when the cops got hold of them. The robbers holding Bangladesh identity were caught by the police when they were on round in Gangavaram area on their vehicle. Cops suspected some action in the ATM when its shutter was half open and lights switched off. After hearing noise from inside, cops got hold 6 robbers with blades and intent to break open the ATM machine. However, 2 robbers have been caught by the police while others managed to escape, attacking on the constables. Police has seized mobile phones from the 2 accused. Meanwhile, search operations are underway. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Let's take a look at some of the top stories from the nation today. Amid a mega face-off between the BJP and the TRS, BJP Telangana chief Bandi Sanjay has been arrested. The arrest of Bandi Sanjay comes at a time when he was about to protest against the arrest of BJP workers who had tried to stage a protest at K. Kavita's residence. The BJP chief of the state also raised questions on the role of the TRS in the liquor scam and had demanded answers from the Telangana Chief Minister KCR. After the Congress insulted Veer Savarkar, the BJP has made Savarkar its #1 issue in the state. BJP MLA Renukacharya started Savarkar Portraits campaign in Karnataka's Honal district. There is a row over Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations at Aidgah Maidan. Pramod Muthalik has launched a signature campaign. Meanwhile, reacting to this, the KPCC president DK Shivkumar has said that the government will act accordingly and will take appropriate action. A young man and a woman have been arrested in the case of selling drugs at a lodge. The 2 of them have been identified as Akshaya Shaji and Yunus from Kerala. The police has seized 6.6 grams of MDMA as well. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear a PIL challenging the remission of the Bilkis Bano case convicts. A bench asked the council whether the release of Bilkis Bano's rape convicts was on the basis of a Supreme Court order. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court also said it will register the matter for an appropriate bench. The Supreme Court, while hearing a plea of Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar and his wife Leena Paulos, ordered to shift Sukesh from Tihar jail to Mandoli jail. In its order, the Supreme Court said that jail officials were being used for passing documents and for other illicit business. An army chopper made an emergency landing in Rajasthan's Hanumangarh district. The helicopter landed at a field in a village in Dholipal. 5 army personnel were present in the chopper, which made a safe landing. Viewers, a big development from Punjab now, where the border security force has recovered a cache of assault weapons at the India-Pakistan border. 3 AK-47 rifles with 6 magazines, 3 M3 rifles with 4 magazines, and 2 pistols with 2 magazines in the Firozpur sector have been found. It appears that the weapons have been smuggled from Pakistan. So this is a big breakthrough by the BSF. It has foiled a nefarious-looking plot. A cache of heavy assault weapons has been seized from Firozpur sector. I repeat once again, 3 AK-47s, 3 M3 rifles and 2 pistols. So 8 heavy weapons have been seized along with all their ammunition and cartridges, and this is from the India-Pakistan border. And once again, the BSF believes that these weapons were intended to be smuggled into India from Pakistan. Pakistan is once again the source of this cache of arms and ammunition that has been recovered from the Punjab border, this time by the border security force. A big success then, but clearly a nefarious plot that the BSF is likely to take forward and investigate. 3 AK-47 rifles, 3 heavy assault AK-47 rifles, 3 M3 rifles as well. So a total of 6 assault rifles have been recovered as part of this cache of arms. Along with that, 2 pistols also, 2 sidearms, and a total of 12 magazines for ammunition have been seized. We have Gursimran joining us on the phone. Gursimran, tell us more. A success of the BSF, but clearly questions over what Pakistan is doing and its intent to smuggle weapons into India.
See, these are the desperate attempts by the Pakistani side to push in weapons into the Indian territory. And now a big success for the border security force, especially in the Firozpur sector, where 3 M3 rifles, 3 AK rifles, 2 M3 rifles, 2 pistols, along with 14 magazines that include the magazines of M3, as well as AK and pistols have been recovered by the
border security force. This is a major attempt of smuggling weapons into the Indian territory that stands foiled, and sources in the BSF are telling us that it was packed in 2 packets that was to be pushed inside Punjab so as to carry out a major terror strike in the region. But due to the timely intervention of the border security force, this attempt of the Pakistan stands foiled, and now the investigation is on to find out who was to pick this consignment, because see, this is a huge consignment: 3 AK rifle, 2 M3 rifles, along with the 2 pistols and 14 magazines. This clearly shows the extent to which the desperate attempts of Pakistan are being made so as to push weapons into the Indian territory, because you know that there are a number of incidents where we have seen that the Pakistan is now trying to use drones so as to push weapons into the Indian territory, and also to use the local terrorists to carry out terror strikes. So this could possibly be one of such attempts that now stands foiled by the BSF, and now Punjab police along with the BSF is carrying out the investigation so that those who were to pick this consignment of weapons from the Firozpur border area can be held at an earliest. Right, Gursimran, we have right now the visuals of these weapons on our screens right now. The audiences can see that there are 3 assault rifles of the AK-47 variety, 2 M3s and 2 pistols there. I trust you'll be getting us more information from this. One question is that this is in Punjab now. We've seen this in Jammu and Kashmir, but is there a concerted effort by Pakistan to push it in Punjab? That is something that the BSF is likely to investigate further. Very clearly, Pakistan using its nefarious design to peddle drugs and guns into India. Viewers will be getting you more on this after a short break.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
In US, a body found in Northern California reservoir is believed to be that of a 16-year-old Kelly Rodney, who went missing weeks ago after attending a party at a Sierra Nevada campground in the United States.
Still an active investigation, and I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. Again, it is still a very active investigation.
And a roundup of all that's making news from across the globe. Ukraine President Zelensky in his address lauded the European politicians for imposing an 8th round of sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This comes amid US President Joe Biden's request to Russia to end military operations close to Europe's largest Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Serbian Minister of Internal Affairs Alexander Vulin in Moscow. Both the leaders discussed the situation in Kosovo. Lavrov also assured Vulin that Russia's position on the sanctions remains same. This comes after the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovo leaders earlier this week in Brussels.
In the latest development in Pahalgam accident, an ITBP Jawan has succumbed to his injuries, taking the total death toll to 8. Meanwhile, more than 30 Jawans are being treated in different hospitals in Jammu and Kashmir. Reacting to yesterday's protest in Bihar, where police were seen charging with lathis on protesters, the BJP leader Nawal Kishore Yadav has said that the entire incident is unfortunate. He further added that our national flag was also insulted.
आंख के सामने स्क्रीन पर जिस तरह से उस बच्चे को मारा जा रहा है, और लोकतंत्र में मारने का कहाँ जगह है। लंबी लंबी बात करते हैं, कभी चाचा कहते हैं, 20 लाख भतीजा कहते हैं।
Viewers, there has been a pothole death incident in Bengaluru. A 44-year-old male named Suprit, a biker, fell into a pothole in the Hirohalli neighborhood of Bengaluru.